French coated up to her.
Oh, okay, these are motion.
Yeah, I can take it back.
Yeah, I'm good. They can run until they run out.
I think it does.
No.
Get that
Well, he's talking about a dog.
Well, that's,
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have an agenda here that I need to have out. So if anyone would like an agenda.
Let me look.
They're laying right here, but.
Oh, yeah, they got it.
Let me see, let me just grab a couple. Dan probably ain't got none, 'cause I borrowed one from there to me. That's about it.
Sorry about that. Again, 2 nights ago, that lost me the camera. That's actually Saturday.
he's running.
Busy.
Okay, this.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
One more. That replaces one of them. Yeah, I'm good. What's replacing?
As proposed.
When they're done with my notes, just putting these on the end, I'm not I don't know.
It is right there. I can walk that back.
Is this, what is this? You already have it. You already have it.
Yeah, we got a lot.
I had a lot of things.
Some people don't like it. I love them.
I'll say you see.
They're sitting back there.
Well, we got extra.
We already have one of these in the package.
County property maintenance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I hadn't heard that one before.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I know we're running a little behind, but we got, as you can see, we got lots of paperwork coming in. We've had, you guys have probably had a lot of family members maybe that have been ill. We've had a lot of illness across the road there, but luckily this morning everybody's back. So we're thankful for that. But I hope everyone had a a beautiful Christmas and New Year's holiday season. We've got lots to be thankful for. We're very fortunate for all that we have. You can always look around and see someone that's having a hard time, and it's good for us to remember and find a way to help out. So, but again, welcome everyone here, first meeting of the year. If we would, Mike, would you mind opening a word of prayer, please?
Lord, thank you for this day that you've yet again given us. We ask for the many blessings that you've bestowed upon us personally in our community and our county. Lord, we pray for those that are sick and ill, and that you would lay your hand upon them. You are the great physician, and that you bring them back to health, if it be your will. Lord, we ask is moving forward today, we're going to discuss some tough topics, and we just ask that any decision that we make is ultimately pleasing and acceptable in your sight. Lord, we just ask that you give us patience and with one another, and help us to be kind to one another and understanding to one another, and help us to reach a resolution to where all parties are satisfied. Lord, we ask that as we go through this meeting, that any other meeting or any other topic that we discuss, that we reach a peaceful resolution, and that everything is pleasing and acceptable in your sight. Be with us in everything that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you would join us, salute our flag, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Today is a special call meeting, so we're limited to what's on what we have on the agenda to discuss today. So we'll move on forward. Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll, please.
Squire Stump,
Here.
Squire Ferris,
Here.
Squire Eldridge,
Here.
Judge Travis,
Here.
Squire Travis,
Here.
Squire Cotton.
Here.
All right, thank you. We're all here. The first on the agenda is approval of the minutes. I had several changes I wanted to make that I chose. I'm not going to recommend any changes. I will just say there's still a lot of commentary that needs to be taken out, but I didn't see any problems with what I saw. So I'll just leave that open if anyone else has any changes they'd like to make. And I would say that the ending part of the minutes we handed out, that Corey finished after the meeting the other night. It looks like this page here you guys have. So that'll be the balance of the minutes that the clerk took, and then we went into executive session, and then Corey finished them up.
Motion approved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Mike, second by Dan, to approve the minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. First item of business is, get to the right page, it's on page 26 in your book. All right, now that is replaced with this that I handed out. There was a typographical error on it. So anyway, Corey worked this out for us, and basically it involves where that we will be putting the economic development position in the judge's office, and this will be a resolution for this year. It's for this year only, and it mentions at the bottom that the deputy judge will maintain her title, Brittany Vito, and she also become the economic development director. And that's basically what this resolution says.
Motion to approve this resolution.
All right, second. All right, we have a motion by Mike, seconded by Zach. to approve the resolution that's presented for economic development. Any discussion? Do we need to read the resolution, Corey?
Short title, summary, resolution to reorganize administration of county government, notwithstanding chapter 4, section 4 of the administrative code of Spencer County, Kentucky, and outlines the changes that we discussed.
Okay. All right, any other discussion?
Don,
Yeah,
are you changing?
I can't talk, Bobby, sorry. Not here, so, but anyway, so any other discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. I'll discuss with you, and anyone in the audience, this being a special call meeting, we don't have an opportunity for citizens to discuss us on, like this title, this particular title. Now, when we get on down the line, and we're discussing, where I know a lot of folks are in the audience, we'll collectively discuss. But where these are ordinances, or not an ordinance, but a resolution that we're approving, we don't want to take audience discussion. So anyway, all right, so that passes. Thank you all. Next on the agenda is the financial officer on page 27. This will put, you can see how it states. The only, there's no changes that I wanted to make other than, if y'all remember last meeting, we hired the administrative assistant office staff is a part-time position. It's not noted here that it's a part-time position, but it is. But again, Brittany Vito will be the deputy judge, the economic development director. And then Karen Clark is part-time office staff, administrative assistant. And then Katie, I'm going to move her up to the finance officer. By law, we have to have a finance officer and a treasurer, and they have to be independent of one another. They have to have different set of books, right, Doug? So anyway, Brittany did have that title, and Katie agreed, and I thought it'd be a good move for our office and for the just basically the future of the county, to get someone younger, familiar with the finances. Not that age matters at all, but anyway, and I'm not being unfair to you, Doug. Doug has mentioned retirement, so we are planning for the future. So anyway, the biggest change there is that we'll be moving Katie up to the finance officer at a rate of 20 an hour. So any questions on that?
Motion to approve.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion by Zach, seconded by Will, to approve the alignment of the judge's office with the change of the finance officer. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, next on the agenda is the community events pavilion. And we do have someone in the crowd that is going to address us on this particular item. And then I'll kind of turn it over to you, Jim, if you have anything to add, if you'd like to introduce Mr. Emily, and we'll move forward. I want to tell the community, we purchased 5 acres out beside Country Mart. And we've identified that it would be very essential to the community to have not an isolated place, because it would obviously be wide out in the open, but to have a central place where that we can have events, we can have, when there's needs, when there's disaster, a place that people will know to go there. We like the exposure that it allows right there where it is. And right out of the gate, back in January, we were discussing that this is one of our priorities. The county got a lot of money. They got $3.8 million in COVID funds, and even the last court Jim was on, none of the rest of us were, but they identified that it would be important that we take these funds and try to put something into the community that will have a lasting impact. So I agree that that was a great move. So that puts us to where we are today. We have acquired property, and we're in the process of figuring out how to get it developed with a price tag we can afford. So, go ahead, Jim.
Thank you, Steve. Steve Emily, he's an old HM consulting and engineers. Anyway, the building committee's been meeting with Steve. We met yesterday with him out there and talked to what he's going to present to us today. And he sent me this proposal, or whatever you want to call it. And I did send it on, but it's not in the packet today, but it's worth reading. But Steve's going to give us some different scenarios that we might look at on which way we want to go as far as design and builds. Steve.
All right, thank you, Jim. So, since we began meeting with the building committee, we have been kicking around some different options about how to advance this project. And there's a couple of specific procurement methods that I thought we'd walk through this morning. The proposal that we've got to the building committee essentially involves what's called a design-build process. And I want to make sure that everybody understands what the different layers of procurement are. Growing up in this industry, the traditional delivery method is doing design, bid, build, delivery. So you hire a design team, a design professional to develop a set of plans and specifications. Those are put out for public bid, and then based on the results of that bid, you award it to a contractor, typically based on a low bid. So that's the design, bid, build process. For the last 15 years or so, the design, build delivery process has become very popular for a whole bunch of reasons. And the proposal that we delivered to the building committee is essentially proposing to use a design, build, delivery method to do that. And in this scenario, in this method of procurement, instead of hiring a separate design consultant and then awarding a separate contract to a construction professional, you're essentially awarding a single contract to a design, build team. So that team manages the design, the permitting, the construction, and it offers several advantages over the design, build method that I want to just discuss with the council if I can. The first one is innovation, really. In the traditional design, bid, build method, the first time the contractor sees the drawing, it's put out for bid. So there's no opportunity for them to collaborate with the design team to make any suggestions for improvements or innovation in the design. And the design build scenario really allows complete transparency and innovation between the construction professional, the design team, and the owner, which is Fiscal County. So you all have much more control, I think, over what that looks like in the long term, and it allows for a lot more collaboration with the design build team. Schedule is the second one. We typically see a much quicker schedule with the design build award process. Because you can award different elements of the project sooner, you can begin almost immediately with utilities and site grading work as you advance the structural, electrical, and mechanical drawings for the site as well. So you see much more quicker advance to construction, and typically the construction completion is also advanced. The basis of the award of the contract is also different. When you publicly bid a project, as I mentioned, unless the contractor is unresponsible, you almost have to award to the low bid, which isn't always the best value for the owner. So in the design build scenario, you basically make the selection of the design build team based on the value proposition that team presents in response to the RFP. So you get some the owner has a lot more leeway in the selection of that design build team, and it's not really held to a strictly price-based award for that. And the last one, as I mentioned earlier, is just the number of contracts that you have to deal with. It's a lot cleaner for the owner to have a single contract with a design build team as opposed to having two separate contracts, one with the design team, one with the contractor, which often leads to a little bit of conflict during construction. So based on all of those, and again, both of those are perfectly fine methods of procurement, but because of how we think the county wants to proceed with this in terms of schedule, we think there's some advantages to the design build delivery method. And we'd like to open up to any questions that you all have about.
Did you answer all the questions?
I know we've got a big process ahead of us, and appreciate all the work that Jim's put into it as we move forward.
Anyway, I think, I've already asked all the questions that I've known to ask Steve. I support what he's saying, you know, I've looked at it both ways, and once we get this information that he sent to us, to you guys, then you'll be able to read exactly in there, what he's talking about. And he also, put a proposal in there with a price tag on it of what, if we wanted to proceed with that, the way he's talking about, then we've got some idea about what that first, hurdle would be as far as money. And, so it's in there, so I'll get this to everybody and
If I could,
discuss it.
Jim, just to be clear, the proposal we submitted is for our team to put together this solicitation for a design build process. So we'd be working with the county, with county officials, and our architecture and geotechnical partners to develop this RFP, the solicitation for a design build award. That's what this proposal is for.
So is that proposal, this design build thing you're saying, does your company build as well? Does it seem
In the design build procurement method, typically it's a contractor-led, so a contractor will select a design team to support them. So these are contractors that do this type of work all day, every day, and they have engineers and architects that they work with in these deliveries. So there's a group of a dozen local contractors who lead these efforts. So your contract would be with the contractor, and underneath that contractor, they would have a team of design professionals working for them.
Okay.
So you would have everything ready for us. How long, what kind of time span are you talking about before you'd be ready to send this out for bid?
We have a 60-day turnaround in our proposal that we think we can accomplish the development of the RFP. And again, there's a lot of coordination with the building committee and the court and Corey as well to make sure that we're following all the proper procedures in this procurement method, because it's something that's probably new to the county, and we'll make sure that we do it all right.
You know, basically, I wanted him to come before us, as did Jim, just so we can get our minds around, the task we got coming before us. I mean, I'm in unfamiliar territory, and probably a lot of us are too. We've never taken on a multi-million-dollar project like what this will be that'll have lasting effects for this community for over 100 years. So getting all the proper guidance and knowing the pros and cons is very important to us. Very, very important to us. So anyway, anyone else have anything?
But we appreciate the opportunity.
All right, thank you, Steve. All right, now we're down in new business. First on the agenda is the county clerk salary cap. This sheet right here, it was asked about the, y'all see this sheet, this one, Dan? What the approved was a year ago, and then how much each office spent. Of course, right now we're talking about the clerks, so that number is there. On page 28 in your book, we have the salary cap in front of us that the clerk has presented to us. And Madam Clerk, if you would, you can have the floor right now to address.
I'm going to be short and sweet. The reason I haven't spent my entire salary cap is up until today, I have not had a fifth motor vehicle deputy for over a year and a half. Today, I have 5 frontline deputies. I'm not going to get in a hurry and fill seats just to have seats occupied. I have found in the past that does not get you quality candidates, does not get you quality employees. I want to make sure the employees I hire are going to stay around. So I did not spend my entire salary cap. So what I'm basing my request on for this coming year is to have the salary cap that I have right now and to add 2 employees, a full-time recorder for land records and a full-time administrative assistant / bookkeeper. All the other offices in this county have added staff. The judge's office has added staff, recycling's added staff, EMS has added staff, the sheriff's office has added staff. There is no reason in the world to think that my office is any different than any other office, and that we're not busier than we were a year ago. We're gonna need the staff. And the worst thing is, you approve my salary cap, I don't spend it, you get it back. So it's no lose, it's not any loss to fiscal court to approve the salary cap. And I plan on spending it. I know last year I was told spend it or lose it, but with that kind of mentality, you're saying, hire anybody. I don't care who you hire, just use the money that we've given you. I'm not like that. I'm not built like that. I'm a very conservative person. I feel like taxpayers deserve to get quality for their tax dollars and not to spend money just to be spending it. So my request is $497,000. You see what it says it's gonna cover. I do not think that's out of line. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I don't know who said spend or lose it, but that didn't come out of my mouth. But, if you spent $276,000 last year and you're adding 2 employees, I just figured it's $60,000 apiece, which that may be a little high probably. That comes out about $396,000.
So, sir,
Yeah,
I have
so-
not had 5 deputies for
I know.
over a year and a half. Today was the first day.
If you add 2 more, that's what I'm saying.
No,
That's
no, no,
another
no.
$120,000 for all year.
The 391 was based on having 5 full-time employees. That's what it was approved at last year. I did not spend it, so you're gonna say because you didn't spend it, you're not gonna get it this year because you're not gonna need it. That logic is not sound. I didn't have 5 employees to pay last year, so I didn't spend the 391. I have 5 employees now, plus I need to add 2 more.
I really think.
Yes, so I need a total of 7 employees, 7 full-time employees. I need a full-time land records employee, deputy, and an administrative assistant / elections / bookkeeper. I desperately need that. I've got too much work in my office, and I'm getting behind on everything. I'm just now trying to finish up the reapportionment process that you all started or finished in August. I mean, I'm behind on that. I've got the State Board of Elections breathing down my neck. They want a letter. I can't produce a letter until I get help from KIPTA. So I am behind in what I need to do. These 2 extra people are going to help bring us into the next year. We're going to be doing e-recording. So we're going to have more work coming down the pipe. The 5 that I have right now, it's the first time again in over a year and a half that I've had 5 full-time employees.
I'd love to see it pull over there and open for lunch.
I would like to see that too, and when everybody's trained, that's exactly what's gonna happen. That's exactly what's gonna happen. And we won't be in a crunch if somebody has to take a week off for vacation. Right now, Felicia hasn't had a day off in over a year. She's afraid to take a day off. You know, she's my most seasoned clerk, and she knows all the jobs. That's got to change. That has got to change. So that's the reason for my request. I don't think it's outlandish. Again, if I don't spend the money, you get it back.
No, we might be beating the dead horse here, but I still feel like I need to ask. I believe last year you talked about you want to be full staff,
Mhm.
have the money to be full staff. And I think we came up with a figure, and we proved that figure, but you haven't been full staff. You say you just got back at 5. And my question is like, I know what you're saying. If you don't use the money, it comes back. It's not like the county loses it. But we do earmark that money for you, and technically we can't spend it throughout the year because we don't know if you're gonna need it. So it does kind of tie our hands on those funds until the next year. To be quite honest, I was kind of disappointed that we approved this number and you didn't become full staff. And I've fielded a lot of complaints from my constituents about not being open during lunch, things of that nature. I'm sure you hear them too, so that's no new news, but I mean, if you keep saying that you're going to be full staff, you want to be full staff, what is there to assure us that if we approve this money that you are going to be full staff?
I have 5 employees. I have my motor vehicle, my core group of 5 employees as of today. Okay? That's what I need to run my motor vehicle line, 5 deputies. I need 2 more deputies to do additional work, recording and administrative assistant and bookkeeping. Jim Travis has been looking for road labor for over a year. You
Well,
all
we've
know,
had multiple, some people come and go out of the clerk's office.
they do, because it's
This
not for
year.
everybody. When I try to fill positions to put somebody in a chair, it doesn't always work out. I'm taking my time and trying to get people that I think are going to stay, that have a good background that I think are going to stay. Not everybody, it's not cut out for everybody. It can be feast or famine. In March, you know what my office looks like.
Yeah.
There's a line out the door and down the hallway. I only had 2 deputies in March of last year. I had 2 deputies in Farm Plate month. It was insane. I don't ever want to go through that again, and I won't. The people I have right now, I think, are stable. They want to work in the office. They want to serve the public. I want to have employees that are paid fairly, that want to be there, and that can serve the public the way that I would like them to serve the public, the way you would like to be treated when you go in that office. I can't do it with 3 deputies. It has been extremely hard getting qualified candidates. When COVID struck, people were being paid to stay home. I couldn't put a tent out on the street and give money away to come into my office. People didn't want a job. The job market is getting better now. There's more candidates. I'm getting more qualified candidates. Everybody has a background. Everybody has a job. I was getting medical people, and there's nothing wrong with medical people. It's just their talents are not the same talents that we need in our office. We need somebody with a strong clerical background, customer service background, some computer know-how. We're transitioning to a brand new vehicle registration system, and you all say a prayer for my office on Tuesday that it goes well. I've had so many angry people in my office saying, why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? We can't. If we wanted to, we can't. The system is shut down. I need qualified people, intelligent people, people who can think for themselves to navigate this new system and to know how to react and act to a customer when they come in, and Lord knows what kind of mood they're in. They're paying taxes, they're not happy in the first place. They have bridge tolls. They're even more upset with us. They have delinquent taxes. I sold that car 3 years ago. It's still in your name. We deal with a lot of angry people, and I'm not saying we're the only office in the county that does that, but it takes a certain type of person that takes that kind of treatment from the general public. I mean, we get far more complaints than we get compliments, so it's been hard finding people to stay and to work in my office. I don't have enough relatives to hire to fill each one of the seats up in my office. Believe me, if I could have put people in those seats that I thought were going to stay, I've been burned. I've been burned in that office. So I'm taking my time in finding people that are qualified to work. So yes, I want to have 7 employees by within the next couple months.
My suggestion would be that, rather than tie all this money up at the beginning of the year, that if you do become fully staffed, or you have that extra person that you need, that you come back to the court and ask for us to fund that, as other departments have done. And we can, that way that money's not tied up for the whole year.
Has this court not bought anything for departments because they didn't have the money? There's no shortage of money in this court.
No, but we just need to be wise about how we spend our money and when we spend our money. I would rather have $100,000 in the bank that I can use than $100,000 tied up somewhere that I can't touch.
I agree with Dan.
My question is, are you planning on giving your current employees and future employees raises?
We
That
do
will
the-
eat up a lot of this?
Yes, I do plan on it, but I don't give across-the-board raises like some departments do. I give merit-based raises. If somebody shows initiative and they want to learn new processes, they get a bigger raise than somebody else. But yes, I do plan on giving raises.
Do you know how much you think that'll be,
I don't.
percentage-wise?
Well, it's not 15%, but I guess I could do 15% and eat up that money.
How do you base your merit decisions?
On people who show up to work every day, if they are good with customer service, if they show the initiative to learn new tasks and new jobs. Every one of those girls that you see sitting on the front line has other jobs besides waiting on motor vehicle customers. One does all the land records, one files all the lien, releases all the liens in the county, one does the daily deposit, one does the weekly deposit, one does the bookkeeping, one helps me with elections. There are a lot more chores and tasks that my office does that I don't think you all are aware of because you don't see them. You're not there. So it's merit-based, and there's not a percentage. Fiscal court is tasked with approving a salary cap, not the number of employees or the amount that those employees are paid. That's what I've always been told with the fee office. Fee don't choose what we say.
True, that's true.
Now, if we approve this that you're asking for, can you go on record and say that you'll be open lunchtimes and on maybe one Saturday a week like you used to be?
We are open one Saturday a month. We're open the last Saturday of the
Will you
month.
continue that?
Oh, yeah.
Plus be open during lunch hour?
As soon as I get people trained, Jim, that's been my goal. I just have not had enough people to do that. That has always been my goal. I just haven't had people to do that. You can put me on record that I will be open during lunch. I don't know what that time frame's gonna be. But I will be open during lunch.
I'm thinking like January 30th. After that, open during lunch. If you're willing to agree to that, be open every day during lunch after January 30th, then I'm willing to talk.
What are you gonna put? Okay. I'm sorry, but I have never seen you tell another office how to run their office.
I can't tell you how to run your office, but
But
at the
you
same
just
time, I need to
said-
have assurance that you say that you want to provide services that the county wants and needs and deserves. A lot of residents need you to be open during lunch. And if you can't provide that service, then how am I supposed to fully fund that?
Yeah, and I agree, I come into your office maybe a dozen times a year, and this last 2 times, I walked out. Because couldn't get service. One time you were closed for lunch, the other time there was a line out the door. And, we need to have the county offices, and the judge's office too, open for lunch. I sit over here in my truck one day waiting for the judge's office to open back up at 1 o'clock. I got there at 12:15. I sat there and counted a dozen people come up, pull on that door. Nobody there. His office needs to be, we're not telling him what to do, but just a suggestion. The public needs that.
I know they do, Jim. I know they do, and that is my goal. All I can tell you is that's my goal. That has always been my goal. I haven't had the people to do it. I plan on it, but for somebody putting a time limit on me, it's not fair. It's not fair. I don't know if my staff is gonna be fully trained enough. And what's gonna happen if the customer comes in and the deputies that are working during that period can't help them with their problem? Then they
You
have
leave
to
one
come.
seasoned person there during each lunch, take 2
My
lunches.
seasoned people are, yeah.
Well, Felicia stays during one lunch and you stay during the other, you know how to do their job, don't you?
I don't work the front line. I do not handle money.
You don't know how to do their job?
I know how to
Just
do
be
their
a-
jobs.
Someone to
You have
offer
to
a
have a cat-
suggestion?
I can offer suggestions,
That's what
of
I'm saying.
course.
So if you're there once and Felicia's there once, the office could be open today, in my opinion, for lunch. I would figure it out. I don't know anything about your job, don't know how to do it. But, I can run a crew and that's what I would do. Just my personal opinion.
And I'm working on it.
I'm not doing
Honestly, I am working on it.
Well, I kinda like Dan's idea, what he suggested. I don't like us having funds tied up. When we put funds in a box, they're tied up all year. And, last year we put $391 in a box and you only needed $276.
That's the difference is $114.
Right. So, that much was tied up. So anyway, with that all in mind and what Dan mentioned, I'm gonna put a figure on the floor and we can vote or we can discuss. But anyway, I'll make a motion to approve a salary cap for the clerk at $325,000 for this coming year.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by myself, seconded by Zach, to approve the salary cap of the clerk's office at $325,000 for this coming year. The floor is now open for discussion.
Where did you come up with the 325,000 figure?
I was using what she spent last year and figured on adding another person. It's just kind of going, just to be simple, that's how I come up with that figure.
We know this court approved her cap last year at 391. Yeah, you know, the 325 seems a little low to me. I would be in favor of, if we approved it last year at 391, you know, things haven't gotten any cheaper as far as salaries and things, so, you know, my suggestion would be to keep it the same as she had last year at 391,000.
I agree with that because she is gonna have pay raises, insurance is gonna go up. There's a lot of additional costs, even with the, you know, if she does have one extra person, that's gonna add a lot more additional costs, so.
Jim, would you like to make that in form of an amendment to the
Well,
motion?
I'll amend the motion to put the clerk's salary cap at 391,000 for calendar 2024.
Yeah, basically strike 325 and insert
Yes.
391. All right, we have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Jim, second by Dan, to amend the motion by striking the figure of 325,000 and certain figure of 391,000. Floor is now open for discussion.
I don't agree with the $114,652 right now she would spend. At 325, I think it gives her ample enough extra money. I mean, she's went out a year without the extra employees, the same thing, one extra employee making the front line, it's gonna cost her $114,000 a year.
She wants to hire 2 more employees from that.
I understand, so.
So
I'm not saying she
that
can't come
alone
back,
would,
she can't
that
come
would eat
back
up
up
to
to $100,000.
$100,000. So,
The way I understand it is, and Lynn can correct me if I'm wrong, but it takes the 391 to give her the 5 people for a year. And the only reason why she's short is because she didn't have the 5 people all year. That's where she came in, the 276,000 figure. If you wanted to have 5 people on the front line, you gotta have the 391. That's the way I understand it for a year. You know, it's more than what I saw, but I can see validity in the clerk's argument for 391 to at least give her a full line across the front to handle people with their motor vehicle problems for a year. I'm definitely not in favor of going above that. So I agree with the 391.
All right, any other discussion? All right, we'll proceed to vote on the amendment, which the amendment says that the salary cap would be set at 391,000. All right, hearing no other discussion, the Madam Clerk, if you would, call the roll, please. This is to approve 391.
Square Cotton,
No.
Square Stump,
Yes.
Square Ferris,
yes.
Square Eldridge,
Yes.
Judge Travis,
No.
Square Travis.
Yes.
All right, motion passes 4-2, correct? All right, motion passes 4-2, the amendment. So now we have the motion as amended, which basically says the same thing. That it'll be 391,000, but we need to take a vote on the motion as amended. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No.
Have one no. So the motion as amended also passes.
Are you voting no to the motion as amended?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
One
I thought-
did.
I did.
Right.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I passed the motion as amended.
Okay. Just trying to
I
clarify.
voted in
it for the
favor of the
minutes.
motion as amended.
Thank you.
All right, so we got that covered. All right, next on the agenda is the sheriff's salary. I know the agenda says sheriff's salary cap. Part of that, in your book, is the quarterly report that was turned in that we have. This is the report that Lynn gave us at the last meeting, where it had the 680,000. We need to approve this. I mean, it's part of it. We don't need it in a motion with the salary cap. It needs to be on its own motion. So, but Scott, you have anything you'd like to address on this, the annual settlement? It's pretty self-explanatory.
There's your money.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion-
Congratulations.
All right,
I'll make a motion to accept the summary and reconciliation of all accounts of the monies taken in by the Spencer County Sheriff.
so we have a motion by Mike, seconded by Zach, to approve and accept the report presented by the sheriff for the reconciliation of the estimated accounts.
I will say it's $100,000 more than we had expected.
Accounts. All right, any more discussion on this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, now, Sheriff, I'll turn it over to you as we did with Lynn to discuss the salary cap.
Okay, we have, as y'all know, over the last several months, we've been giving information to you, trying to give you the advantage of not just being slammed with stuff all at once. There's a lot of information been handed out. We've given you several options. This is the package that we put together that has all the graphs, scales, different things in it. So we're not gonna go through this. Hopefully y'all have looked through this and have an idea of what that's about. If you have any questions about it, please bring them up. I just had some talking points that I'll try to go through as quick as I can about, the changes and the realization of what we're dealing with today. Population growth of the county, increase in population and housing each year. Every year, it's going up, 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 up. Means more services are needed. Current county population is 19,500. That was the last census. Probably over 20,000 now, but that's what the number we'll use. Spencer County is 192 square miles. The city of Taylorsville is less than 1 square mile. The county is covered by 8 full-time law enforcement officers, including the sheriff and the chief deputy. The city of Taylorsville has a population of 1,250 people and is covered by 7 full-time officers, including the chief of police, which is not a 24/7 law enforcement agency, which is 1 officer for every 183 residents here in the city, which is great. Spencer County Sheriff's Office is 1 deputy for every 2,438 residents. Not even close. Not even, that's a good clip. The 24/7 patrol needed should not rely on KSP coverage. We just cannot depend on them. It's nothing against them. I think their roles have changed somewhat from 40 years ago. They don't come in the county near as much as they do, and they'll just tell you, we don't have the people to help you like you want to. So I cannot say, okay, on Thursday night, I will have a trooper down here. So I never know when they're coming or showing up or a schedule or anything. So rather than hope, I just don't even include them in the equation. The sheriff already covers the city of Taylorsville after 2 a.m. That's when they cease patrol, and we continue to patrol the rest of the night. More than 1 officer per shift is what I want. This is an officer safety measure. I know Jim being a firefighter, Mike being a police officer, and I believe Mr. Kerr, you were an EMT or something? Paramedic. Okay. How many times did y'all ever go on call back up nowhere around you? That's what I'm doing with some guys in the middle of the night. KSP's nowhere around, Taylorsville's gone home. The only backup they've got is call and getting somebody out of bed, and that takes a while. What I'm proposing is I want on that late night shift and all shifts to be at least 2 people. 2 people does not negate that there won't be problems, but it does help even the odds a little bit. Many times we're called by EMS and fire, clear the scene before we're going in. Okay, I've got, and this is not a slam on anybody, but I've got 15 firefighters standing by and 2 ambulances. I've got 1 guy going in to clear the house and make sure it's safe for all the rest of it. Doesn't make sense. There's an increased number of residents, resulting in increased numbers of calls. More commuter traffic to and from Louisville, Jefferson, and Shelby counties. When Shelby County gets all those buildings they have put up, open, 55 is gonna be a nightmare. You know, it really is. It's gonna be a lot of people traveling that corridor. In 2022, the sheriff's office was able to increase pay to the employees to remain somewhat competitive. Since 2022, the employees that have had that increase, in 2021, the inflation rate was 7%. In 22, the inflation was 6.5, and in 2023, it was 3.1. So in essence, the employee raise was negated by the current inflation rates. You can give somebody 15%, but if inflation keeps going, you don't have no more in your pocket. This amount was competitive at the time with surrounding agencies, but is since negated by raises that they have received. We have information that a nearby sheriff's office is going to give a raise first of the year of, I believe, $2 and another $2 to $3 in July. We got to compete with that. We can't, let me rephrase, we can't compete with that. We have to get within the range of that. I was just recently told that $4 an hour more for someone, we're competitive. You y'all want to take $4 an hour less for what y'all do? You think that's competitive? I don't think so. In 2022, the sheriff's office collected $111,600 more than the expected budget amount. Additional fees because we got additional things we're doing, serving papers, doing inspections. You know, we collected additional money than what we projected. So that's money that's coming, you know, the sheriff isn't just burdening you, we're also giving you additional revenue because we're burdened with additional work. In 2023, the sheriff's office projects to collect $160,000 more than the budget estimate of $578. This means the sheriff is turning over approximately $750 in fees this year to the county. That'd be in 2023. The total budget for the sheriff's office for personnel and operating expenses for this year is $1,250,000. That's our, you know, everything that goes through y'all's budget and everything. The fees collected were $750,000. It was the remaining balance to be covered by the county. The sheriff's office does not collect enough fees to be independent from the county and still provide general law enforcement patrols. The fees that the sheriff collects include some from the following: cleft money, circuit clerk, auto inspections, commissions, taxes collected, and serving papers. The sheriff's office this year was able to supplement the county by utilizing drug seizure funds to purchase 2 vehicles and tasers, saving the county approximately $92,000. Those trucks were bought with drug seizure money. Does everybody hear that? Everybody remember that?
Most of it.
What do you mean?
Most of it. Yeah, most of it.
100%.
Not 100%, but most of it.
Well, $72,000,
Yeah,
period, okay?
right,
Now,
72,000.
and of course, they still had to be outfitted, and that's part of it. But, yeah, it's a lot of money, but the thing about it, you gotta have it.
It was 15,000 truck. I think it was 30,000. It wasn't
Yeah,
30,000
deck
per
amount,
truck.
Yeah.
deck amount.
That'd be additional 30,000.
Right.
Something right.
So, this is not reflected in the budget's operating expenses. That's just not shown. The contribution for insurance has decreased for the next budget year. Total number of employees eligible were used in the calculations for the maximum amount that may be included in the budget numbers. While we do not anticipate all employees using this, we have to look at it as a possibility. We have to plan as, okay, everybody's gonna take insurance. How much is it gonna cost us? You know, I don't even anticipate half of them taking it, but anyway. The county is reimbursed for the court security officers at $15 an hour. So all the monies that are received for this goes directly back to the county to offset the cost of their employment. Let me switch over here and kind of summarize what I've just talked about. Fees generated by the sheriff's office for 2023 was $751,460.93. Now, that's not tax dollars, that's fees. That's services that we did to generate those fees coming in, which part of that is us collecting taxes. Money generated by the authority of the court paid to the county for the court security workers. That's just a wash through. I mean, I don't know why it's even in our salary cap. I feel like it should be a line item thing because we don't get none of it. It was $57,172.91. So y'all got that much money back from ALC, okay? The 2 vehicles bought from the drug seizure money was $72,000. I think we're on the same page there. Pagers bought with drug seizure funds and some other things was $32,622.76. That's money saved to the county. It can come out of the taxpayer's pocket. Total funds contributed by the sheriff's office was $913,306.60. The salary cap last year was $950,000. The difference was $36,693.40. Now, before anybody gets excited, let me finish. This does not include other expenses that physical court paid out of the general fund. And I don't have those numbers. I'm sure they can be gotten. But y'all bought us some vests, you buy uniforms, y'all contribute. I'm not saying you don't. This represents no mismanagement of funds. I think this shows right here, I'm not mismanaging funds, I'm making funds. I'm contributing a lot that wouldn't have to be done. But it shows a healthy contribution to the cost of running the office, is my point. As far as the people that I have on my personnel, it's in question that I've got too many people. Come over and try to help us someday and see if you can keep up. Some days are pretty easy, but most days aren't. Chief deputy works during the week. He takes calls, answers complaints on employees, and if you're in law enforcement, there's going to be complaints on your employees. You hurt my little boy that's 35 years old and still living with mama. Works investigations, scheduling employees for training, budgeting, and equipment, and available for all call-outs. Pretty big plate. Patrol currently have 5 full-time deputies responsible for patrol. I have an evidence technician now, and I've said many times that evidence is probably the fastest thing to get an agency in trouble there is. There's been agencies nearby us that have crossed that line. I don't have a key to the evidence room. Nobody has a key to the evidence room but one person. One person is allowed in that room dealing with that stuff. That way that person is accountable for that. I had a person that was working there that was a POP certified officer, but she did not want to be deputized. She didn't want to go out on runs no more. But she left when her husband left. And now I have a part-time, he's an evidence technician, but he's also a fully sworn POP certified police officer also. So on the days that Ken, if I'm off on call somewhere, Andrew's on call somewhere else, and this happened one day, in about 20 minutes. Then Tim worked a wreck out here on 44 near the Coots Farm. He was off at the same time. So he is a benefit to us. He only works 2 days a week. But the 2 days a week he does work, so that's been a win-win all the way around. Plus, what he did for Shelby County before he came over here was evidence room. And he qualified for the job. He currently works less than 20 hours a week. It is a part-time position. I really need a full-time detective. But they work less than 10 hours a week on average, also assist with computer issues, data management, and felony investigations. That would be Lieutenant Minton. CSO supervisor and office assistant is Marlene Kramer. She works court 3 days to 4 days a week. She's responsible for coverage of the micrometers in the annex. And the county receives reimbursement of $15 an hour for those hours worked in the courts. She assists mostly during the tax time in the office or when the office manager is not available, and she can perform vehicle inspections. There's many times Sharon might be outside inspecting 3 vehicles at the same time. I'm gone, Andrew's gone somewhere. Somebody still needs to be in that office and answer the phone. One thing that makes people mad than anything is they call the sheriff's office and don't get an answer. It really upsets them. So we try to make sure that phone, there's somebody there to answer that phone. And Marlene might be the one out doing it, and Sharon's answering the phone, but Marlene stays extremely busy. The court security officers currently we have 3 that are working part-time to cover the courts in the door. The hourly rate's $15 an hour, which we've already said we pay back to the county by office of the courts. The following positions were eliminated in this past year to assist funding for more patrol officers this year. We no longer have a narcotics detective, undercover narcotics detective full-time. He retired. So we are not going to refill that position. We are going to try to concentrate more on the drugs happening right here in the county, more so than the drugs assisting other counties and going further out. Now that also is going to mean there's going to be less federal funds, drug seizure funds. That's a trade-off. Both were reduced to part-time and then one was fully eliminated. Current staffing does not allow for 24-hour patrol with 2 deputies on duty at a time. We have looked at our schedule, and if we went to 12-hour shifts, we could do 24/7. I'm not a fan of 12-hour shifts. I believe Squire Stump can tell you that being a police officer is extremely stressful. You're on keyed up 99% of the time. It wears you down worse than cutting the back. And I think 12 hours is too long to put a guy out there in that stress. I'm not saying we can't do it or we won't do it. I'm very, very reluctant to do it. We're already doing 10-hour shifts, which a lot of places do 8 hours, but we're doing 10-hour shifts. One issue that is a constant is having to plan deputy to receive their vacation. You got it. Doesn't have vacation. And every single one of them has to go to a 40-hour in-service a week training. So if I got 8 deputies, there's 8 weeks, so I ain't got those people. Kind of hard to fill in empty spots when those things happen. Each sworn personnel is required to attend 40 hours, like I just said. So therefore, it's 400 hours that's dedicated to training for the agencies if we had 10 sworn officers. It's hard to fill in those positions. I've told people many times that, okay, let's take a unit in Louisville Metro. I got 15, and I'm guessing, so you got 15, 20 people in their unit. One guy don't show up, big deal. One guy don't show up here, it's a big deal. Because it's hard to cover. And it's not the guy don't show up, it's the baby's sick. I got strep throat, I got COVID, whatever. It's just a fact of life that's the way life goes. So I want to be able to have enough to where, okay, whoops, well, so you fill that in. You know, we switch it around and fill it in. I could have said 2 years ago, I got 24/7 coverage. I could have said it 2 years ago. And most of the time, that would have been accurate. But if I can't guarantee 100%, 24/7, 365 days a year, I'm not going to make an empty claim that I am. It's got to be that I can fill in those vacations and those trainings and the other things that come up. That is when I'll guarantee you 24/7 coverage. I'm not going to blow smoke at you and make a claim I am, but I might be, sure as I made that claim, there's gonna be a day that I've got 2 or 3 guys out. Where's the sheriff's office at? People don't understand, like, oh, we had 3 guys out sick. Well, that don't matter, you still should have been there. And I plan on still being there. I would like to become more of a proactive law enforcement agency and not a reactive law enforcement agency. Right now, we're just about call to call to call to call to call. You know, you get a little bit of this, and I tell my guys, I said, you know, if you got some slack time, go to a subdivision, different subdivision. Ride through, people's out in the yard, stop, talk to them, hand them your card. Hey, if you need anything, let us know. We're available to you. The office is where the office is. And you know, reach out to people and let them know who we are and what we do and how we can help them. In 2018, the year before I took office, the budget was, salary cap was $668,220. Some people claim there's 24/7 coverage. I've only heard about 2 people ever say that was actual. Because it's just impossible. Of course, they were making $14 an hour and the door was rotating constantly, people leaving. You can't blame them for it. And this has been almost 7 years ago. You know how things have gone up. Used to be somebody worked at McDonald's for $10 an hour and was happy. Now for 15, 16, 17, it's 50. So it's just the fact that things are going up. But in 2019, when I first took office, I dropped it back to $560,000. The reason being, I had 1 chief deputy, the office staff, and 1 sergeant when I started. That's all I had. And I was wanting to hire people, send them to the academy. I knew, just like y'all were talking a while ago about tying up money, ear tagging money that I knew I wasn't going to use, I didn't do that. I dropped it back to where, okay, I'm not going to be able to use this money this year. Y'all try to use it, and then next year I'll be coming back for more. So in 2020, it was $670,000. 2021, it was $700,000. Yes, it's going up every year. 2022 was a year that I was told if that's not enough, come back and ask for more. And then when I did, I was scolded like a bad child for coming back and asking for what I was told to do. Last year, 2023, we started out with $905,000. I had a chief deputy left that was retiree, and I hired someone that's top certified, Mr. Andrew Ware, that I had to start paying retirement on. That's why I didn't come back in to get anything additional. It was that this situation created, I had to pay his retirement. And that's why that increase was made, was to pay his retirement. If you've got any questions, please ask. I hope, my chief deputy Andy Ware is here, my Lieutenant Meyer Mitten's in the back, several of my officers are here. Whatever anybody else says, I ask them to be courteous. I respect your position. I sit right there in one of them chairs, and it's a tough job. We are a growing county in population. We're not a growing county in land. We're not a growing county in industry, unfortunately. But one thing that these other companies are going to look at when they come to our county to look about us, what kind of law enforcement y'all got? We got 24/7, and it's an accredited agency. That accreditation, a lot of people think I harp on that too much. That is huge when it comes to talking to companies or businesses located in your county. You know, and by not having the people to take care of our residents in our county, and we're paying some pretty high taxes, and I know it's residents. You know, a lot of $1 million houses out in this county now. And people expect them houses to be washed over, and if it broke into, we respond. We've got to give them what they're paying for. And I can't do it unless I get more people. Our highest request on the thing we did was 2 officers, $1.75 an hour raise, and that will still be below everyone around us, but it will be approaching to where I think we can retain our guys. I try to make a place of employment that people enjoy coming to work. All of my deputies, except 2, live in this county. That's important. We need those people who live in the county, know the community, are ingrained in the community, know the good guys from the bad guys, and their neighbors give them information, say, hey, I heard so-and-so. We need them officers in the county. And that's not always my basis for hiring somebody, that they have to live in the county. That's one thing that really is appealing to me. I've got as good a deputies, I feel like, as anybody. But I gotta be able to keep them. If we don't do something, we'll be right back to 2019, $560,000, and I ain't got nobody to pay anyway. Yeah, the reason it keeps going up is because we keep growing and keep needing services. And I want to provide that. I ain't caring about my legacy or my future. I'm gonna be dead and gone in a few years. I want to leave a nice sheriff's office to hand off to the next guy. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want to leave him burdened with a mess. I want to leave him with, here you go, here's this, have a nice day, call if I can help you. That's what I'm looking for. This is my last term, I'm not running again. So, but I want to, I think we've brought the agency from pretty low to pretty high. We're highly respected in the area. We're highly respected in the Sheriff's Association, and I'd like to keep that going. And, you know, the maximum is what we truly love to have. That's not a demand, that's a request. And those other options we gave you, that's other options. No matter what happens here today, we're still going to serve the citizens of Spencer County. I'm not going to say, I'm not doing no more patrol. Quit. It's not going to happen. I took this job to make it happen if it has to be me out there. And a lot of times it is. And I will uphold my oath and serve the people of this county. But I need help, and I need people, and I need good people, and I've got them right now, and I've got good people waiting in the wings willing to come work for us. Any questions from anybody at this time, then I'll sit down and let some of the other people sit.
I just got one little,
Sure.
because we don't have it in our packet. What are you asking for on your salary cap? What is your maximum? You're asking for 1.12?
1.2, that would give me, I could get 2 more, I'd be able to get 2 more officers. I could give them $1.75 per hour raise. Like I said, that still doesn't catch them up, but it gets them within a little bit of their smelling range. What was the other thing?
So you're just gonna give that across the board, then are you still gonna try to implement
Okay.
5-year, 10-year type deal?
Thank you, that's where my mind was getting wandered off. We're wanting to give a eligibility or a longevity raise at 5 years. Then we're wanting to give another one at 10 years. Now, and I've told the guys, I said, just because there's a 5 and a 10, that doesn't mean that fiscal court may not come along and go, we're gonna give everybody a 2% cost of living raise. But we don't know what this country's gonna do in the future. It's kind of scary times, I think. But, you know, this is something for them to work towards. I don't have anybody that's at the 5-year yet, but I've got some that's within the next year will be. You know, and then they're looking at that 10-year, and that, you know, well, I've already got in 7 years here in Spencer County. I might as well stick around and get my raise. You know, you want to keep those, and that package includes that. Does my chief deputy or my...
I guess I'll say a couple of quick things. I guess kind of like what he's getting at, if you look at surrounding agencies, I know we cannot match them dollar for dollar. That's absurd for smaller agencies, smaller county. But this one particular agency he's talking about, just 10, 15 minutes next door, across the board, by July, their guys will be making, a 5-year guy will be making $30 an hour. So you're looking at the $1.75 that we're asking for, that's gonna put a deputy here making around $26.48, and I think it's, you know, that's getting us closer, but it's still quite substantially below, the other agencies. I mean, Nelson County pays all their deputies, no matter what years, how many years of service they have, at $29 an hour. So we got to stay somewhat close, because the guy can just go 10 minutes next door and get a $5 pay raise, and let's be honest, it's probably better insurance. That's huge. It's been a huge thing with me. I know I've discussed that with a lot of y'all. You know, $1,800. I know we fixed it some. It was $1,800 for a premium plan. I think it's down to what, 14 now, something like that. I mean, it's
Still a lot of money.
it's a lot of money, a lot of money out of their pocket, and we got guys that need family insurance, and they can't afford it. So that's just what we're looking at. We take five patrol deputies outside of myself and Scott, and if one of them decides to go, we're gonna be hurting. We're gonna be hurting as far as keeping the roads covered, answering calls, and that's not including lengthy investigations. You know, a lot of these family cases we get, it's not something you're just gonna work on one day. It might be multiple weeks. Take that missing girl, that was a 46-day investigation. 40-some search warrants that came from our office. We was fearing the worst. We prayed for the outcome, that's what we got. I was tickled to death that, you know, that she was still alive, but we started looking at the worst. The federal partners I was working with, she defied the odds. It's for a teenager to not be on any kind of social media or anything for 46 days is very uncommon. I've worked a lot of missing juvenile cases, and I can say in the 6 months I guess I've been here, we've had some pretty high crime felony cases. We've had the murder, which we didn't work that. We've had attempted murder charge. You know, we got some. I can't really go into detail in here. It's not the place. But we got some serious stuff going on, and when you're only looking at eight guys all together trying to juggle all that, that's a lot. I've been kind of quiet since I've been here. I've been kind of get warmed up to everybody, kind of see what the issues are, and that's my assessment. That's kind of been my biggest assessment since I've started here. Is you know, we need to catch up with the times. And this sheriff's office has kind of rotated a lot over the past several years. We need to get it to where it needs to be, and then continue it out to the future and progress.
We're a small county that has grown up out of our bridges.
Unfortunately, we're a small county. It's surrounded by-
Louisville is on our, I used to say Louisville's on our doorstep. They're in their bedrooms and in their garages in the middle of the night now. It's happening.
So I got the latest crime statistics, which are from 2020, but do you have the ones from 2024? I mean,
Which is the latest ones we got. We should have them. I thought they were in the packet of a lot more.
no, that was calls for service. I'm talking about actual crimes that get put in the database for the Kentucky, for the state
The
police. put in
uniform,
that.
the code, I can get them, I can run, they're in the office.
Yeah, because I mean.
Okay, they're gonna get them out of the office.
Okay.
We have it, don't have it with me.
I think the Commonwealth Attorney might have, we have some, he had some stuff he wanted to say, and he might have.
I'm done for now. If you got any questions of me, or if you want me to come back up and answer anything, I'll be glad to. I'm not trying to break this county. I am trying to make this county better, and I want people to feel safe, and I want people to know that, or us to get the reputation that, go to Spencer County, you better be ready, because they don't play around. I don't want the people coming from Louisville thinking we are easy pickings. That's one thing I want to stop.
Yeah, hang on.
I got one more question.
Uh-huh.
You're, on here, you're patrol supervisor, I would assume you're a sergeant?
He's a corporal.
Corporal, okay. Are they not a patrol officer? I
Yes.
know they respond, like a lot of times if you
Yes,
have a.
he works a regular shift.
Okay.
Yes. Andrew comes out at 6 a.m., I come out at 7 a.m., and we work 10-hour shifts. And then when we're going off, we got guys coming on, and yesterday, we actually was in the office a little later, and actually the guys, officers, deputies coming on, we were all meeting in the hallway, which is good, you know, for debriefing. Who'd y'all rest the other night? Somebody called and complained that we picked on the poor little child, that has been a big problem. But you know, we've got a family atmosphere agency. We're gelling well, and you know, everybody's got a little pick of this, pick of that. But I'm very proud of what we've got and what we've built. I just don't want to see it crumble. You know, it'd be like y'all building this new building out here for $3 million, not getting a vacuum cleaner to keep it clean inside. You know? We're building this county, and we need law enforcement to help take care of it.
Dan, do you have those crime numbers? Or do you
I have them for 2020. From 2019, it was 199 crimes committed in Spencer County. For 2020, it was 208. So,
It's going up substantially.
2022 says on this, like I said, your crime reports were 188.
I don't know where you're pulling those from. You're pulling those from the
Kentucky State Police.
Yeah.
That's what you gave
So
me.
you say those are crimes, so those are mostly felonies and misdemeanors that we have done a NIWRS report on. So that means that we've taken a call and done a report.
Yes.
That is not traffic citations, that is not non-felony arrest, you know, or anything like that. That is just basically felony cases that we go to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office if it was prosecuted and a charge
That's
was made.
felonies and misdemeanors, right?
Yes, felonies and misdemeanors, yes. That's the only thing that comes through a NIWRS report.
But it's everything that a report was filed on.
Yes.
Case report.
Case report. That's a case report that's billed.
Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
Good morning, folks. As Andrew, I'm the Commonwealth attorney. My name is Harvey Gibbon. And in 2 days, it will be a year anniversary since I was appointed to fill this position. Former Commonwealth attorney Laura Witt became a judge. Position came open. I was appointed. So since January 6th of last year, I've been in this position, and we handle the felony prosecutions in Anderson, Spencer, and Shelby County. Prior to January 1st of last year, 2023, I was the Shelby County attorney for 4 terms. Before that, I've been assistant Shelby County attorney since 1999 now. But just wait, background, not to bore you all too terribly. Before that, though, from 1994 to 1998, I was the assistant Commonwealth attorney for Anderson, Spencer, and Shelby County. So I go all the way back to the mid-90s. And I can tell you, obviously, as I'm sure y'all are aware, it's completely different. And I'm just appearing this morning to give y'all just the information that I've seen in the past 12 months compared to what it was back in the late 90s. You know, back then, my recollection, you had a sheriff, we had 2 deputies, but you also had 2 full-time state police detectives who I think had an office here on Main Street. In 1996, going back and looking at the number of felony cases that were indicted in Spencer County, there were 33. And that was with that large law enforcement. I think the state police presence was a lot more extensive also because you had a lot more state police out and about. Just this past year, pardon my voice, this past year in Spencer County, we indicted 129 felony cases. So that's just felony cases. That's not what court is dealing with in district court with not only the juvenile, but the traffic and the misdemeanors. That's 129 felonies. Just 5 years ago, I think there were 50 felony indictments. And I'm just going to give you all that information to let you know that Spencer County and what we are prosecuting at the felony level. Up until this year, Spencer County's met 1 time a month. Well, that's no longer feasible. Starting this year, we'll be meeting twice a month, just like we do in Anderson and Shelby counties. the criminal activity, again, as you're all well aware, you're next to Jefferson County, you're next to Bullock County, next to Shelby County. It is finally, it's not trickled into Spencer County, it's flooded in vast proportions, just based on what I've seen in this past year. The only other thing I will say is, I feel like, I mean, I've worked with Andrew Ware in Shelby County for many years. Sheriff Mr. Tim Gilbert, I know him well. I've worked with him almost my entire career, and that's been at least almost 30 years as a prosecutor in these three counties. My point is, I feel like the sheriff's office is on the upswing. And if you have any questions for me, I'll be glad to answer them. I just want to be as brief, but it's as nice as possible. That this next Wednesday, we'll have the Spencer County grand jury. I've got 16 more felony cases to present to the grand jury. So it's not slowing down. I appreciate being up here this morning. I thought we'd speak to you all. Any other questions?
Any questions of Scott and Andrew? Any others?
If y'all don't know me, my name's Brian Sumner. I'm currently police chief here in Taylorsville. Just a little background about me. I'm a retired lieutenant with Kentucky State Police. Spent 18 years with them before coming over to Taylorsville. The time that I've been here, I've seen crime go up quite a bit. Now, the reports, like you said, those are actually things that put on paper. There's a lot of stuff that requires paperwork that requires police response. And in saying that, I've seen it climb to the point to where when they don't have any help, we step in. The 6 years I've been here, we've tracked everything that we do. 1,700 complaints we've either assisted with, helped with in some shape, form, or fashion. That's taxing on us at one, because we're leaving our primary patrol. And we're going to back them up. I'm back anybody. I don't care what color uniform we're in. We help them, we'll help them. But when the crime's trickling over and we're having to go out to leave our primary patrols, that's when it becomes an issue for everybody. We can't, like I said, Rob and Peter pay Paul. I mean, we're going out helping them. The only time we've damaged cars is when we're out in the county. I'd like to see them get some help, and I don't know for what that's worth, but it would help everybody in the community, not only for them, but it would help us as an agency. Well, I know we're small, we get overlooked a lot, and I'm okay with that. We take care of business and don't want any glory for it. But I would like to see them get some help as well, as far as the citizens, their protection. I mean, I know that live on the western end of the county. I've been a victim of some of the Louisville stuff that's going on here, so it would be appreciated on all parties.
Brian, I got a couple of questions. You're the head of the closest other law enforcement agency to the sheriff's office. You're not 24/7 patrol. The sheriff's office isn't 24/7 patrol. So it's comparable. It's serving the same kind of community, other than the fact that you're a smaller city encompassed within the county. But how many officers do you have?
Total, I've got 12. I've got 6 full-time, including myself. I have 3 part-time, which 2 of the part-time guys are primarily for our training purposes. We hired them from Louisville SWAT after they retired, primarily for training. Then I have 3 school resource officers, so I have 6 full-time that actually do patrol, and the other guys are filling in as needed.
Do you have any administrative personnel or evidence technicians or other people that do not work the road?
You're looking at it. Me and Major Christopher basically take care of everything. That's just the nature of the beast, being a small department. I kind of did this backwards. KSP, being a lieutenant, I could delegate a lot of things here. I don't delegate anything. Myself and Major Christopher, we have to take care of it all. We answer phones, we deal with evidence, I deal with casework, I deal with the phones ringing, I deal with answering calls. Been down with a little hip surgery here, not been out doing a whole lot lately, but we basically take care of all of it. I don't have, the only person I've got that's not a police officer is my new citation officer, and he basically does code enforcement just to take some pressure off us.
And I don't know if you can speak to it or not, but what's your budget? Operational budget?
Overall, it's $1,038,000 is change. That's overall.
How much of that goes towards your salaries?
Just under 800,000.
700 and some change?
794 and some change. And that's including your FICA, Medicare, and all that.
So you got 12 people, how do you pay 12 people with $700 and some thousand?
Well, you gotta, I'm somewhat creative, but, a lot of times we look at the retirees. For one, we don't pay a lot of money in, actually nothing into retirement. For two, I've got a boatload of knowledge coming in. That's kind of where I'm leaning, because, I mean, we're small, I get it, you know, we make decent money for being a small department, but it's hard to make that money stretch when I can put 3 retirees up at the price of 2 that's not retired. And I get it, you know, I mean, I'm just doing what I'm doing with the best Taylor's Real City Police. That's not feasible for other departments, I get that, but that's how I manage it.
So are you doing anything special to attract all these retirees? Or, you know, most people when they retire, they don't want to come to work. And I'm not saying that works for everybody, but, you know, it is a good cost-saving thing if you don't have to come to that retirement.
Well, you all that grew up, lived here, grew up here, y'all know Taylorsville's usually been a revolving door for police officers, chiefs, whatever. I didn't really want to jump into that and keep that wheel rolling. So, the city council was gracious enough to let me, you know, work on a pay scale that I implemented. Basically, I checked with Eminence, and minus the Bluegrass Outlet Mall, Simpsonville, those were the 2 that were kind of our size, kind of similar patrol areas. And so that was bad. Obviously, I can't compare myself to anybody else around us. So I went off their pay scales, what they did, kind of come up with one on our own, basically anywhere from a recruit all the way up to a 20-year officer, with, you know, stair-stepping on the increases. That way everybody knows where they stand. They know where they're at. This is what it is. We're contract employees. I know the retirees are contract employees. So what we done is instead of letting a retired guy come in and accrue his time as he works, we basically come in every year and we offer 4 weeks vacation, 2 weeks sick right off the bat. That's pretty attractive, you know. Like I said, we're we got a small patrol area, and if you know, those guys do need off, I can dip into my part-time people and SROs to get covered. But that's, you know, you got to, I got tired of getting involved, so I had to come up with some things to say, hey, here's what you're looking at, and just lay it out there. And the pay scale, it's pretty enticing, as well as the time off.
What are your retired officers like?
Currently, like 36 and change. Not sure what's in that. Now this is including the club funding, which is the $4,300 training stipend we get every year. It's $33.36 an hour.
That's why I can't attract retirees, because I'm not paying near that kind of money.
And that's a big deal when it comes to attracting a retiree. And you got to think, that's a lot for Taylorsville, and it is. But when you're not paying into retirement, you got to look at what you're paying for. You're paying for 25 years of experience. I mean, everybody we got there. I've got guys that were narcotics detectives, child against children. I've got supervisors from other departments, St. Matthews. We've got SWAT. You name it. We've got the experience. I mean, a lot of times we do rely on KSP when we got large crimes that do occur, which not very often in the city. But when we do have a substantial case, they have the resources to expand out and do things. We're kind of confined into Taylorsville. That's why we rely on them. We got the capability to do it, but it's the manpower of the time. Like Chief Deputy Ware getting hung up on this 46-day investigation. You get a guy hung up on one of those, you might as well count him out instead. Obviously, we don't have 24-hour patrol, but we don't want to blab out to everybody. We do work a little bit past 2, but not much. But just right now, I can't justify it. We've got to look at the complaint. Like usually, if we get a call, they will call us out. A lot of times it's for alarms or whatever. I know we've had a couple break-ins that were substantial, which I think one of my officers, Officer Keltner, did an excellent job in cooperating, working with other agencies. I'm pretty sure that ended up working all the way from Glasgow to Indianapolis. And I think those guys have been apprehended. So, anybody got anything else?
Anything else you got? Andrew, anybody else?
No, Ken Ambaker here, he wanted to step in. He's a fire chief out at J-Town. He wanted to come in and say a few words.
Wow. No. I'm farming now. Thank you guys for hearing this morning. And a lot of people in this room, Ed McGuiran was my training lieutenant at LPD when I came to the academy. So there are faces here. Anybody in first responders, law enforcement, fire, hold up your hand. Look what you got here. Half the room. We're all asked to do a lot more with a lot less nowadays. COVID, crime is up, the world we live in is crazy. And I can only speak from my experience and me personally. And why I'm here is I'm always in the battle for the guys in blue and brown. I did it for 20 years. Worked in the west end of Louisville, fortunate enough to go to J-Town. And I went to J-Town for the environment and the benefits. And when I was upper command at J-Town, which was 8 years before becoming chief, we stole other departments' best officers. Stole them from here. And that's important. What Brian was talking about, what Scott was talking about, you can't have a revolving door. You've got to get a foundation. You don't build a building or a barn from the top down. Build it from the bottom up. And you've got to have people that want to stay here and work here and that give a damn about here. And if they live here, that give a damn factor is going to be higher. You have got so much talent if you look around in this room law enforcement wise. Keep them here. And the way you do that is with benefits, how you treat them. I think both of these guys, both of these law enforcement leaders and fire leaders, public service, we've got great leadership. That's without question. Benefits, training, retention, hiring, all those things are interrelated. As the Commonwealth Attorney was saying, other agencies, heck, Scott stole everywhere. When I was at J-Town, I stole Todd Tinsley. You've got great talent here. You've got, my gosh, I think probably how many hundreds of years of service with just the Louisville Metro officers that are here. You've got to pay these folks to keep them. They're going to go somewhere else. I've never heard of this. When the last hiring process I did at J-Town, we had over 100 folks apply for 2 spots. That's a luxury. One of the highest paid in the state, one of the most well-respected, one of the safest. J-Town now has a trooper that went there recently applying to Louisville Metro to leave J-Town because Louisville Metro pay scale is at or above in some instances. Louisville Metro's environment is not the best place to work. You should ask any of these folks in this room. That's why they're out here. Either they moved out here, as I did back in '02, or come out here to work after they retire. Let me touch on the retirement officers. Not only do you save money, and that's great, and that's what you guys get paid to do by hiring them. You're not paying the health insurance, but the experience, the know-how, and more importantly, the wisdom they bring. They're not a young guy out here trying to prove something, not a young girl out here trying to prove something. They know how to lay hands on people, trust me. They will lay hands on people when they have to. And I promise you, there are people in this county and out of this county that come into it to commit crime that need hands laid on them. You've got to know how to do that, when to do that, and the right way to do that. And when you do it, the right way to put pen on paper. You don't hear about law enforcement agencies in Spencer County getting sued or lawsuits or wrongful death or so on and so on and so on that you hear about in surrounding counties. That's not by chance. Pay these folks. I heard Scott say a few things, but I'm going to scratch my head on them. And it's nothing wrong if you're looking forward. And what you're asking for is forward looking. There should be 2 people out on nights. Most criminals sleep till 4 or 5 in the afternoon and go out and they go to work at night. And their job is to steal, plunder, and rape. Trust me, these thugs know that there's not anybody out at night. Anybody remember the door kicked in an early one up at the top of the hill? House was bought. As soon as it was bought, the door was kicked in. I think once about the criminals looking for the drugs and money, the other about the police looking for the drugs and the money. But that's what's out here. The guy that was living there, we chased around, and Billy, I know you worked up for a while. We chased this guy all around Jefferson County, West End, Shively, J-Town, all over the place. And where did he come? He came to Spencer County to set up shop. He needs to be made feel that he's gone now, but those types are out here. I think,
Brian, your house got hit, right?
you know, we can all be victims, and going back to the reports and the numbers, heck, my place on Little Union got busted into, they stole, you know, some stuff out of the barn. You know, that wasn't reported. I told them, I don't want to report, don't take your time, you need to be out being proactive. It brings me to another point. We have got to be proactive here, not on our heels, and you can't be proactive without the bodies. Not just a body, but the right bodies. What you've got here is a great start, but again, you cannot have 24-hour coverage in a county this close to Louisville. The crime is all right around you. I'll tell you a story from Jaketown, and then I'll wrap up with that because it's almost unbelievable. The bank across the street from the police department has their ATM, a log chain around it, and yanked out across from the police department. That's how close that stuff is to here. So these guys have got a great start, a great mindset. Golly, Brian Sunday, he's taking the best from Louisville Metro. Scott stealing the best from Shelby County and Louisville Metro.
Julie, how many years' experience you got?
30.
So you don't get that everywhere.
She had a choice, you had a choice where you wanted to go when you retired, right?
Yeah.
And where did you come and why?
Here, because it's close to home and it seemed family-oriented and,
Why moved out here in
Everybody
'02?
Mayberry.
yeah.
It was
that-
just found out it wasn't.
It's
yeah,
not anymore.
It's not Mayberry.
It's not anymore. And I don't know, I worked in the west end of Louisville, born and raised on the Spencer Jefferson line on Route Road. Moved out here in '02 because of that. People treat each other right. Dave, speaking of fiscal court, David Goodwood made me feel the most welcome in any place I've been in my life. This place is changing now. I sent people to prison down Little Union, sent people to prison down Murphy Lane, and sometimes that's a little too close for comfort, because you see them every now and again at Country Mart. Now I just want to be left alone and raise cattle. Two different jobs there. But my point in being here today is, not only do I, as you all do, but everybody in this room, and you see at least half or first responders that care about where they live. And that's what makes this place so special. There's no special interest group here. It's people that live here. Shop where you shop, work in the area you do, put on their clothes and their shoes the same way you do. And I know there's a lot of law enforcement experience up here, first responder experience up there, farm experience up here. This is what makes this place special. But I can tell you, as with J-Town or Louisville, once it gets overrun, you don't go back and get it back. We are ahead of it now, but I'm telling you, Scott needs more people. And to get those people and retain those people, you have to pay them. They've got the treated right part down. They're treated right. And they do good by it. They do good by you guys. And I don't know their budget. I know when I left J-Town, we had a $12 million budget. Just my vehicle portion, which is a big part of my responsibility in upper command, my equipment for or budget for vehicles, that equipment was over $250,000. What I hear now, a vehicle costs, right, a good police vehicle, you're $50,000. I mean, that's crazy. I remember buying a Crown Vics for 19 and change. So I know when you look at the numbers, and I don't know what they are because we're all asked to be more or less. I know they look big, but public safety should be the better part of your budget. And they've got a great foundation going. Don't touch those everyone. They should have 2 folks out at night. You should never be without a backup, and that comes from somebody that worked 4 years in the West End before I went to J-Town. You better have backup somewhere. Even if they're coming from a ways off, that's better than nothing, right? So, do more with less. I don't think what Scott's asking for is outrageous. Brian and Scott work awesome together, keep it going, and it's a great place to live. I can live anywhere I want. I choose to live here. And I'll tell you a little story. I had a farm for sale in Little Union this year. You send people to prison, and it's unnerving unlocking your farm gate, and those people drive by you, and your back's to them. Had a gentleman come look at this farm, and he has money to spend. He's vice president of the Union. First thing he said, I hear you're a retired law enforcement. Yeah, what do you think about out here? Well, why I live out here is because it's safe. He said, well, that's the first thing I did is look up the crime statistics and drive around and get a feel. I feel safe. And you know where they're moving from? Oldham County. Oldham County's got a pretty good reputation, police department wise, education wise, tax base, education, healthcare, all of it. That guy's wanting to leave Oldham County to come here. And the first thing he looked up was the crime rate and the stats and safety of the state. And that means something. Scott talked about bigger houses. Think this guy won't build a big house? And then he's gonna tell his friends. So, just, again, I don't know the exact numbers they're asking for, see what you can for them, and we'll all be better off for it. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll be short. I concur with a lot of the points that everybody's made. I think I bring a unique perspective to this, being in emergency services and being out there with a lot of these officers when they're responding to calls, days or nights. Man, I see them in action all the time. And the increased activity, as a lot of these guys have talked about, is unbelievable. And I tell some of these deputies I see, especially out here second and third shift, I don't know where you find these people. Because, you know, they may need us to assist them with the drone or maybe on a traffic accident. Man, and this is not, I don't think, unique to Spencer County. I think everybody has a drug problem. But the amount of drugs out there and the things that these guys are doing, man, I'm just overwhelmed, you know, with what they do. I know a lot of these guys talk about the benefits of retired officers and the savings when it comes to health insurance and retirement. But I want to focus on the others. I think it's very important in our emergency services and for our future that we cultivate a situation to attract and retain young folks, you know, for our county. I feel like the sheriff's office has got a few of those. I see them out there working extremely hard. Deputy Lashley, Stallings, Barry, Fulkerson, McGee just come back. Those guys are out there getting. And while they're gaining experience, and they may not have 15 to 20 years experience, and no disrespect to the retired guys. I'm getting older, I'm getting slower, I don't have to drag hoses in my teeth, okay? So I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the point. But it's a lot more passive as well. I mean, the activity that these young guys are doing, I say young, they're not young, but younger guys are doing, to me it's very impressive. You know, and it really just concerns me. I know we're talking about salary caps today, but it concerns me for a young guy that has a wife, that has a family, and they can't afford health insurance. And I know, like everything's getting more expensive. But that just really bothers me that, you know, a deputy sheriff, for example, has to worry about health insurance. You know, and paying $700-800 every 2 weeks out of the check. I mean, I don't know how they do it. So we shouldn't expect to keep those folks. And we're very blessed that I think all these five and probably more, I just see these guys a lot. They love it here. They care about here. And I know you all have tremendous amount of duties and responsibilities, and the sheriff's office is just one thing and many things that you all have to look after. And we talk about Spencer County growth, and I know nobody likes this word. I don't either. But we talk about taxes and how much people pay. Well, the fact of it is, the taxes in Spencer County are one of the lowest anywhere. When you look at the county tax rate, you look at the school tax rate, you look at the fire district tax rate, you look at the occupational tax rate we charge, counties that have insurance premiums, we're all one of the lowest. And I know nobody wants to raise taxes. And I'm not saying that needs to be done. However, I think when you talk about public safety, law enforcement, EMS, we have grown to the point where we need more staff and we need more people. Now, I don't have those run numbers. I don't know the analysis of when you need them and how many you need them and all that. But here's what I can tell you. I see it out there. So, for example, Deputy Stallings makes an arrest the other day. All right, I don't know what it was, but he made an arrest. He was tied up on arrest. We have a traffic accident at Dutchman's Creek in 44. We got a trooper coming from Frankfurt. Now, I know we can't prevent everything. I get that, you know? But how many hundreds of times a year does somebody need to call 911 and there's not an ambulance available? And I just bring that up again. We can't prevent everything, but we have outgrown our staff in a lot of things. You know, I think the second ambulance crew had, I believe it was 6. So, I mean, I think the county's done real well. I've told Scott on a number of occasions, and I truly mean it. I think it's been great what you guys have accomplished last year. It's good to see a group of people working together and trying to do positive things for the county. But and I'm always a little reluctant to come through because I got my problems I got to take care of too. So I don't want to come and stick my finger in your pie, and I'm not trying to be critical. But I see what these guys do, and it just means a lot to me. I'm concerned about their safety. And are we going to prevent everything? No. But I think it's time we make a good investment. And I hope y'all can see it to give some serious consideration for what Scott's asking for. Thank you.
I'll be real quick. My name's Ed McHerron. My wife and I built a house out here up off of Plum Ridge Road about 10 years ago. I'm a twice retired law enforcement professional with over 40 years of experience. A lot of the stuff has already been talked about that I was thinking about saying, but one thing that I have seen over the years with the 2 different police agencies that I retired from was becoming a training ground for other agencies. What I mean by that is, you get a young officer in, you send them off to Richmond, you're paying their salary while they go there, supporting them while they're there for training. They come back, they work a year or 2 at your agency, but because you don't have pay that's going to keep them there, they can get lured away by other agencies. I retired from Fish and Wildlife, was the last agency that I retired from. In our district, 3rd district, which is 7 counties, which Spencer County is part of it, we lost 2 officers to Shelby County. I think one was to Shelby, I think both of them were to Shelbyville Police, because Fish and Wildlife didn't pay a salary big enough to keep the officers there. They went to where they could make more money for them and their families. So that's a big consideration. You don't want to become a training ground where you're footing the cost for the 400 hours of training, whatever it is they receive. Richmond, they're gone up there. They come back here and work for a year or 2. You've been out that money, and then they go and take that experience somewhere else and that training somewhere else. That's an issue to consider. As your all's elected positions, your number 1 priority, in my opinion, to the citizens of Spencer County, should be public safety, police, fire, EMS. That taking care of our citizens. You want to make it uncomfortable for the thieves and stuff that come out of Harrison County and other counties coming in here. But in order to make it uncomfortable for them, you got to have a law enforcement agency that's big enough, that's going to have enough presence out here, that's going to catch these folks. That's all I got to say. I appreciate what y'all do, and I'd like to see y'all increase the funding for the sheriff's office.
All right, anyone else to speak on the salary cap, either side?
Larry McLean, Chief of Mount Eden Fire Department. All I got to say is that, like Nathan, we see these guys in a little different locations than what most people do, and it's very important for us to have them on the scene to protect our guys. We support the sheriff's office in their endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm E.J. Lawrence. As you know, at the beginning of the year, I got on the rotation for the police department. And as I've been out here, I've noticed drugs out in this county that I never knew was out here. And it's amazing to me. But I think we need to look at where these people are coming from with drugs out here, or to buy drugs, or whatever they're doing. Because it seems like to me a lot of these people that are getting locked up are from Louisville, not in this area, and they're coming out here. And I just think if we had more patrol to keep people from coming out like that. They're gonna come out here, if they're not getting busted, they're gonna say, hey, Spencer County, you can get away with anything out there. And we don't need that. We need to keep that away. We have kids, you know, everybody, you don't have grandkids or kids of your own. We need to keep that away. And, you know, just like we had the fatality that happened right at the county, on the Jefferson County line. You know, the gentleman that was at fault, I don't want to really say, but, you know, if we had more patrol or something, maybe we could have prevented it or something, but the way people are driving out here these days, passing when they shouldn't be passing, and, you know, maybe if we can get more officers on duty, then we can prevent fatalities like that, or even some other stuff, so that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, anyone else, either side? All right, I'm gonna close, communication, not to Scott or Andrew, but we'll, in case we have questions, but I'm gonna close communication from others at this time. So, the court, do any of you have any questions for Scott or Andrew as we continue discussion?
I'd like to just, I know you talked about, you know, the personal issues of it. And I think we need to look at that, you know, what dollar sign do we put on someone's life? You know, do we pay somebody $37 an hour to go out and be shot? Or do we pay somebody $23 an hour to go out and be shot? We hear way too often in the state of Kentucky where a deputy or two or somewhere in some small county in western Kentucky was shot and killed. You know, it's a personal thing. Money can't replace that life, no matter how much you pay. So the people that are in law enforcement and first responders in general need to be paid, and they need to be paid enough to make it where they can support their families. And in Spencer County, it's no different.
I'd like to harp on the same issue of I've been in office, the insurance issue. It's something that we definitely be looking at further down the line, something's been talked today. I agree with that 100%, that the insurance that our employees are paying is ridiculous. We need to work on it more, and I know we've been working on it, we've made progress in that effort, and we hope to continue that. But on the same standpoint of that, I know we need more officers out there. I know we need to get you guys the equipment, the pay, and all the good stuff. You know, but I mean, we got an annual operating budget for the county is what, almost like 7 million? 14. Or 14. I mean, it's just a hard pill to swallow. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you couldn't work here. I know whenever I was out in the workforce, which I work myself now, but you know, I chose to come back from Louisville to work here. When I chose to come back here, I knew I was choosing to pay cut. I knew I wasn't going to be making, like we making working in Louisville, working in Shelbyville, working in Louisville County. I wanted to work here. That was a decision that I made. You know, and then now, same thing goes for now. You know, I work for myself and have my own excavating company. But I choose to mainly work here in the county. I could go to Louisville, I could go to other counties, and I could work and make more money. So, I mean, it's, at the end of the day, when you choose to work here, you choose to sacrifice something. And, you know, you gotta come to the realization that we're not those other counties, we're not the bigger counties, we are Spencer County. Yes, I wanna make it safe, yes, I wanna do what we can do to make it work, but at the end of the day, you know, we gotta look at that too. So,
I'd just like to say that I'm in favor of giving the sheriff an increase. No pun intended, but the $1 million question is, how much? I think a lot of these guys know that I served in law enforcement for many years. I know the job, I've been in the fights, the scraps, the pursuits. been sued and everything else. I've worked with some people that you probably know. Floyd Pidcock's a good friend of mine, Kevin Despain's a good friend of mine. The benefits thing is, Zach was talking about, can't be fixed right now. We've taken strides to help out, and the next time that comes around, we're gonna try to take further strides to lower those benefits. Unfortunately, with these other counties that surround us, the biggest difference is the tax money that they take in, the money they have to work with. We're responsible for police, fire, and EMS, but we're also responsible for the roads. We're also responsible for the recycling center, the animal shelter, and everything else that the county provides and all these other services. What it comes down to is that we have to make sure that our expenses are less money than what we have in the bank. And I want to make sure that we give increases, but we give increases that are small enough, a little bit here and a little bit there. If you go to making $300,000 increases every year, come 5 years, we're going to exceed what our tax revenue is. And so we need to figure out what that is. And I want Scott to have what he needs to do 24/7 patrol. I think everybody here would agree that 24/7 patrol is a necessity for this agency. As the crime and the thugs from Louisville Metro come out here to pillage, plunder, steal everything, knowing that patrol is little to none after the hours of midnight, which causes more burden on the office when they have to do the follow-up reports and they have to go to court and everything else. It's a trickle-down effect. But if you can stop it at the patrol level, just by the simple thing of officer presence, is great. I would like to give, I know Scott's asking for 2 more officers. I would like to look at giving him 1 more officer. A lot of the employees for the county have received raises. We gave everybody raises when we took office. I think we gave them cost of living again in July. Scott has given his officers considerable raises, not to say that they wasn't warranted or needed over the last few years. But I would almost argue that if you look at the percentage of the raises, it's considerably more than what the other county employees receive. And not to say that that's not warranted, because these guys take their life in their hands when they go out and they put that uniform on. Not to discredit anybody that works at the road department or the recycling center or anything else, but there's a whole lot more at stake for that patrolman or that officer or that deputy when he goes out and works. So I think that what I would like to do is I'd like for the court to look at something in the area of, maybe without the raises, but getting the 1 person, because he has given some substantial raises over the last couple of years. That's my take at the start of the discussion.
I agree with Zach on the fact that, we're not one of our surrounding counties. We don't have the assets, but people who work here, who live here, I know I moved here from Louisville because I didn't want to live in Louisville anymore. Okay, so, and that's the fact that everybody's moving out here for it. They don't want to live in the surrounding counties, so they're moving here. So there is a benefit for just moving into the county and working in the county. We're not a high crime area. Yes, the crime's worse than what it was, but we're still not. Your officers aren't getting shot at, spit, kicked, and every day. I know several Louisville police officers still. They're, a lot of them, as soon as they get their 6 years in, they're going to retire because they're going to leave and take their pension that they become vested in, because they don't want to deal with that anymore. And it's yes, there are still things in Spencer County that go on. I'm sure there are, but it's not Louisville, and we can't compete with Louisville.
No,
and we can't compete with Shelby County. We can't compete with Franklin County or Oldham County, because we just, like Mike said, we only have so much money, and it has to cover everything.
Right. And you gotta understand those agencies have a lot more officers too. We're talking about one guy, we're trying to make it safer for our deputies.
And I understand, and I
That's-
agree that we need to add another patrol officer. I'm all for that. I think that we do also need to look at how are we gonna reward officers for staying on the department.
We know we can't match dollar to dollar
Yeah.
these other agencies.
But
That
also,
was never our intention to ask
you know,
that.
when I went into the military, and I'm sure Jim probably the same way, unless he got drafted. When I went into the military and when I became a paramedic in Louisville, I didn't do it for the money. I did it for the service. And I think that's the kind of people that you want, is the people who aren't just doing it, they're not just chasing a dollar. They're doing it because they feel like they want to serve. And I knew I was never going to get rich doing that, but I did it because it was important to me to do that service, and it was important to the people that I served, I believe. You know, not everybody treated me that.
I agree to that to extent, but I can also see how much it's changed in my career. You know, you take all the riots, COVID, all the civil unrest, not everybody wants to be the police anymore. It used to be very competitive to get hired on at a police agency. Now you have to beg to hire anybody, and you got to stay somewhat competitive. That's why I keep getting back to, I'm not saying I want to make as much as Selby County, as much as Nelson County, or any of these other counties that have a whole lot more officers and a whole lot more money. But we've got to stay somewhat, you know, in the ballpark.
And I agree with that. And
Some
that's
kind of
what I
middle
said.
role, you know, it's.
I think we need to add an officer. I think we need to go with the step plan where, you know, you've been here 5 years, you get a raise. You've been here 10 years, you get another raise. You know, that needs to happen to keep people longer.
So in your packet, there's that one chart, and it spells all of that out as far
Yes,
as, you know,
I know
which
I see those
you
charts.
would like to look at. And, you know, one of the things that I know that Andrew just touched on briefly was the fact that to find people to come to work is extremely difficult. So we've been trying to hire an additional court security officer now for 4 months. We keep advertising it, we've all asked people and everything else. We can't get anybody to apply because nobody wants to come work for $15 an hour and carry a gun and shut at the door. And, you know, it's hard, and it's hard for everybody, and I know it's hard for every agency. But even when we want to put it out there and say, hey, you know, we're gonna hire a part-time officer, we tried that. We couldn't get anybody to hardly apply. And the ones that applied, we wouldn't have. You know, there are standards that Sheriff Herndon still wants to hold his office to, and there were people that we didn't need to take and have apply. So it's just hard. And I don't work much. You know, I only work 10 hours or so a week, but, you know, I feel like I do make an impact. I make cases, I bring them to heart. You know, I make felony cases and child sex abuse cases. We've got a giant case that we're working on right now. You know, we're doing good things, and I don't think that we're moving backwards. But in your packet, you have every scenario that you could want. So if you want to say, okay, they only get $1 an hour raise, or they only get $1.25 an hour raise, or we don't give any raises, but we're going to give you one person and the longevity, there's every option in there for you. So there was 36 spreadsheets that spelled all of that out. So if you have any questions about it, but I need you to remember that that does not include what the insurance contribution would have to be for the office also. That is just cost as far as personnel money. Insurance contribution is separate, which I figured it on a maximum, which that's probably not ever going to happen, but you have to look at that number and say, okay, if every person there took insurance, this is what the office's contribution would be. So that's on that separate column out there.
Could I, I'm sorry.
One other point.
I do it all the time. I'm sorry. You think of it, just cutting out. being the feeling I'm getting, I would like to make a proposal, a compromise, so to speak. And I hope this makes my staff happy. They don't want to kill me after this is over. If we can get one officer, that will help a lot. We can get the longevity. That's very, very important. I think we had on the chart, we had $1.25, $1.50, and $1.75. If we could get $1.50 raise for the guys, I think we can make it work. We're gonna make it work if you don't give us a dime. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna serve the people. But that would be tremendous in the right direction. And yeah, next year, we'll probably be looking at a little bit more. I mean, if we were losing people every year, I'd expect to be asking for less every year. But we're a unique individual here. We're just like #1 growing county in the state, and at one time we was like 5th in the nation. I don't think we're that high now, but we're just busting. So that's my new proposal. One officer, $1.50 raise for the guys, and no longevity at 5 and 10.
I think something for everyone to think about. So there's you and Andrew, and there's 5 other deputies right now, right? Just patrolling the street. Is that kind of all close to right? You know, they're asking for 1.2 million, and you take nothing to say you guys don't do near as much as these guys, but you have the city of Taylorsville that covers 1 square mile. That's what you said. And there was
less than a square mile, but I mean
9 of them or something. I mean, that should put it in perspective. I don't know what the magic number is here, but 1 square mile to 109 square miles, you're asking these guys to do just as much with, 7 guys.
And I tried to tell my guys, I said, and some people may curse me for this. There's a mile stretch of 31E over there, Little Road. I told my guys, I said, I don't want you over there writing tickets just to get numbers up. Only people you're helping Nelson County, you're helping Bullitt County, and you're helping Shelby County, because Shelby County's gonna get the jail people. They're only in our county for about a mile. It's not that I care about them, don't care about those people while they're in there a mile. I want my people in Mount Eden to come out. High Grove Road, Elk Creek, Waterford, Taylorsville. And, if I've got a deputy in Mount Eden and one on King's Church Road, and they need to be in, say, Waterford, one is gonna get there a little quicker than the other. I can tell you, when you're sitting there, and you're waiting for backup, it's a whole lot better knowing something's coming than you're wondering if anything's coming.
I envy you. That's like, you got 2 guys on patrol in the middle of the night, and you're on opposite sides of the county, and something bad.
Right now, a lot of times we don't have 2 guys on patrol, and I'm gonna make this statement, I'm not doing it no more. I'm not putting my guys out there anymore in the middle of the night by themselves. If we don't have it 1 person on during the daytime, that's what's gonna happen. But I'm not gonna stand and look at a coffin and answer to the wife and children of why that officer's laying there because he didn't have anybody to help him.
So, on that, are you saying that if I call the if I call the police, that, which I have had to do, my wife's had to do at our house, in the middle of the night, I'm not gonna get a sheriff's deputy, I'm gonna get a state police officer? You said you weren't gonna have.
I think he's saying he's gonna make sure there's 2 guys all the
No,
time.
you misunderstood me.
Okay.
I'm still gonna have people out there.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna have a 1-person guy out there. I'm gonna have 2 people out there.
Okay.
If in the daytime I have to have only 1 person, I'll take that chance, but I'm not gonna run single guys from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. anymore. It's asking for trouble. It's just, when I work for Fish and Wildlife, I work with myself most of the time. I look back on some of the stuff I did. My mom and daddy didn't raise me near smart enough because I've done a lot of stupid things. I look back on, I said, just a little bit, and I could have been killed. But I grew out of that and decided to It's not always, and I tell my guys, if you don't give him a day, you get him another day. You know, don't, and I told my guys, I said, if you're going to an active domestic with firearms involved, get close, hold up. Okay, maybe husband and wife want to kill each other, that don't mean you gotta die too. Wait till some backup can get there to go with you. Maybe that's the wrong way to look at it, but, we didn't, none of these guys signed up to die. And none of them signed up just for the love of the job, cause love don't pay the bills. You know, I worked for Fish and Wildlife and had a commissioner tell me one time, said, most people just work for Fish and Wildlife because they love the job. If I could write on a check and pay my light bill, love the job, I'd do it every month. They gotta pay their bills and they gotta be able to take care of the family.
That, I mean, to me, and that's one of the most important aspects of the job, is the love of the job.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
you're
love
never
the
gonna
job.
get rich being a public servant.
No, sir.
So-
Somebody told me one time, you're never gonna get rich with your name on your shirt. And that's pretty good, that's pretty good advice.
Well, for the sake of argument, we have to start talking some numbers here.
Well, I'm gonna sit back down if y'all need something.
That number, and I've been,
He said $150 an hour raise, one additional staff, plus the longevity pay comes to 1.144.
1.14.
1.144.
Was it worth that little bit you're saving, not to have another guy on the street?
Well, here's my thing. At the end of the day, I agree. And I actually agree with the longevity pay. It really helps retain.
It does.
It helps retain your people. It lets your people know what they're gonna be making 5 years from now. And that scale will slide as cost of living goes up and this, that, and the other. But vocally, I said earlier that, you know, Scott has given his guys, you know, considerable raises over the years. Not saying that wasn't warranted,
Well,
because it was.
they were so far
I know.
down and I had to come so far up
I know.
to even be competitive.
I know, but here's what I think. No raises, but you get the experience pay, and you get your one additional deputy. And that's $1,010,000. I think that is a fair concession. He gets us one person, his officers get their experience pay. We're gonna work on the benefits more to help offset that cost even more to the individual deputies, which I know that the health insurance is ridiculous.
Just remember on that number, Mike, that the health insurance that we would have to pay is not, that is just salary, that is not health insurance benefits that the
Or retirement.
office has to contribute.
Yeah, well,
You're up at
basically, I had
60,000.
$300,000 more dollars. Cost $100,000 for each officer, there's $200,000. And then the other $100,000 is for the additional stuff that goes along with it. I mean.
So what does it cost for insurance?
So
Huh?
insurance per person that we pay per month is approximately $1,200 that the office has to contribute, that the county has agreed to contribute. So it's about $1,200 a month per person. So if we had 10 full-time employees or 12 full-time, I can't remember, I'm on a chart, I don't have the number. But that's what that last column is out there, that would be the maximum amount. We do not have all the people that take insurance, and won't have people that take insurance all the time.
I was just looking at, it said total benefits.
The other chart, Mike, the chart that has it, that's the spreadsheet. The chart that's in the very front of those, of the spreadsheet,
the salary cap includes, you know, the full-time salary and wages, overtime wages, part-time salary and wages, vacation, sick leave, the health insurance is part of the salary cap.
And the thing about it is, we got people overtime goes down.
And even the FEPCO card comes out of the
Retirement.
salary cap, right?
yeah.
And the retirement.
Yeah.
Retirement's huge. I mean, it's
It's the chart that looks like it spells it all out for everybody. A little bit easier. I just took the final numbers from every spreadsheet and all that. Come on,
Michael?
come on, it's the one
Didn't
that
see-
looks like that. It's got
didn't know if we go-
It's got the that's the maximum cost of the insurance.
I got that one over here.
Well, I made a high proposal, I made a concession proposal. A concession proposal is where I stand on that. You know, y'all can do whatever you want to. You know, and I guess if it come down to it, I'd rather have 2 officers and no raise and longevity.
I'd like to, we go ahead and get a figure on the floor. I've been trying to sit quiet to listen and take everything in, and everything I wanted to say pretty much has been said. And I agree with that, you know, everyone has real good points. But I want to start the discussion by I will make a motion to approve the sheriff's salary cap at 1.1 million. We'll get a second, and then we'll start discussing.
Second.
I already have a motion by myself, second by Jim, to put the sheriff's salary cap at 1.1 million. Is there any discussion? And that'll get you, that'll get Scott, Andrew, 1.1 will get
1 deputy only.
1 deputy.
Yeah,
Won't
but
give any
by the time you
raises.
figure in the insurance cost to that, you know, it will give you 1 deputy and the insurance that we have to pay as far as the contribution.
We're not gonna give longevity or raise.
Well, I figured it would probably, that would be a good cushion to start, because it's just 40,000 less than what you just said.
Yeah. And it says here that, a dollar pay increase with 1 additional plus experience pay is $1,035,000.
Right, but we have to include it, what the insurance cost is. That is salary only, that is not the insurance cost.
So, that's $144,000.
But theoretically speaking, more officers would mean less overtime.
Yes.
Should.
Well, there is some
And
cost
you
savings.
know how police work is. Sometimes you go out there and you're on a wreck. Well, my shift's over, you're not just gonna turn around and leave and hope for somebody else to show up to finish the wreck. No, you're gonna stay till it's done. So it's impossible to say no overtime. I at one time said, no overtime without a justification. If you was out there, why did it happen? You made an arrest 30 minutes before my shift was over. Justified, you know, but don't just, don't wait till 10 minutes before shift and go hunting and pecking and looking for something that maybe ain't really there.
And another thing that will help, I remember last year, they got a reduction, Doug, in the retirement for hazardous and for regular. And I think I read there's another proposed, I don't know if it was the same proposal or a new one. They were gonna lower it again.
I think so.
It's supposed to be going up 39 points.
Yeah, so that'll give you some cushion that I think will.
My question is real quick, if I can just, I may be a dumb question, I may be an asshole for saying it. How many part-time people do you have all together?
2,
And what are you paying those 2 part-time people?
24.73, or, no, well, you're still your part-time, so yours is up. What's your rate?
28.
28.
Okay.
She's lieutenant.
That's administrative people, that's the evidence technician, that's everybody. You just got 2 part-time.
Yeah,
Well, we have
our,
one other, part-time that came in to help, and we paid her $15 an hour.
And that was
Oh,
just
okay.
during busy tax.
yeah, your taxes.
She's not there, you know,
Yeah,
more.
yeah, yeah.
How many of your staff currently take health benefits? Currently?
I take, what is it, health benefits?
Yeah.
No, COVID?
Yeah, don't give names.
Oh,
How many
yeah.
head, how many folks? You say 5, Doug?
There's 5 that take any insurance at all. Right now, I'm figuring it up this morning.
Sorry, you said great head. I was thinking about cattle
Here,
for a minute.
We feel like some
Retirement is currently 43.69% on houses, it's going to 38.61 is what they're. It doesn't mean it won't stay the same or change.
Right.
Regular retirement's going from 23.34% to 19.71%.
Yeah.
Well, if
I still think if you're gonna give them 1.1 million, he says 1.2 million. 1.2 million, you can hire 2 guys, give all your officers a raise, and you're gonna patrol this county 24/7.
Give me 2 guys, I'll guarantee you 20.
That will work in your salary cap, you won't come in here and ask for more money. At 1.2 million, if that's what your salary cap is.
Yes,
You're
that's
gonna
what
get,
my salary cap is, that's gonna keep me going. Now, of course, we're gonna have increases, but I'm not gonna sit there and say, next year I might have to ask for a little bit more, but that's gonna get me where I need to be to really shine. And it's not for me, it's for the people of this county. You know, I'm gonna be gone before long, and nobody's gonna give a hoot about what I did or didn't do. I wanna lead a nice agency that can be taken hold of and excel even further.
I want to amend the motion, strike out 1.1 million to 1.2 million.
All right, we have an amendment on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Will, seconded by Jim, to strike the 1.1 million and insert 1.2 million. Now we're open the floor for discussion.
I don't support 1.1 million. You know, a deputy costs about $90,000 a year. Right now, you got 5 people taking insurance, not $1,200, that's $6,000 a year. That's $96,000. If you make it 1.1 million, we've raised his budget by 150,000. So he's gonna have $44,000 still left on, could. Now, there might be a couple other people pick up benefits, but I'm probably pretty certain saying that whoever's there now is either taking, you know, they're not gonna take benefits if they're not taking them already.
Or the next 2 guys gonna do it.
But
They don't
still-
take benefits, it's money.
But still only $2,400, you still got 44,000 to work with.
What's the retirement? What is the retirement, Doug, far as if you hire a guy that's not retired and say he makes $60,000? How much of an increase, Doug?
Yeah, well, the retirement though going down.
That's going down?
But I was,
Okay.
but I was,
What's that kind of dollar amount?
but I was figuring it on 90,000, you know, if you pay the deputy 60, and then you got 30,000 there to contribute to retirement, social security, I think that's a pretty safe figure to work with.
Okay.
And when the retirement goes down in hazardous duty, it's big. I mean, it's a big figure for us as a government
I
agency.
just think that the 1.1 is fair. I think we can walk away from this and say at 1.1 that we conceded to Scott. I'll tell you straight up, I wasn't really planning on this meeting giving a dollar more than $1 million. But I think there's been some valiant arguments here. I want him to have another officer. I want him to have 24/7 patrol. But I think that can be achieved with the 1.1 million figure. Let's take baby steps. Let's do this. There's always next year we can make another increase. And the year after that, you know we're gonna make another increase. Nobody stays the same.
All right, any other discussion before we vote on the motion as amended? All right, then we'll do a roll call vote. So, we now take a roll call vote on the motion as amended, which states that the salary cap would be for the sheriff 1.2 million. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
For Travis,
Even though I second that motion, I'm changing my vote to no, because I think Mike made some very valid reasons, so I'll vote no.
for Cotton,
Hard decision. I'm gonna vote in favor for it. Vote yes.
for Stump,
No.
for Ferris,
No.
for Eldridge,
Yes.
Judge Travis,
I guess it's a side vote on me, isn't it? Yep. I run for judge too, and everybody upset in here, just like what you guys. And I love this county, I've lived in this county my whole life, and I want it to be the best it can be. I haven't had the ability to try to make the county better, other than what an average person can do. What any of us can do in our regular lives to make the county better, whatever that is. That's all I've been able to do, but in this position, the county had faith in me to make good, hard decisions to move us forward. And I say that to, ever how long it takes for us to make improvements. I think that the biggest thing that this court is doing is we're catching this county up to where it needs to be, in my opinion. We have made strides with equipment this year. We're really trying to make strides on the infrastructure, the roads, the economic development, the future of where it needs to be. And I think that in every department, we need to get there. We need to make those, the next one we focus on will be the EMS. And I'm not saying that's the next one we focus on, but we're still working, we've been working on it all year. We're still working on it. But anyhow, the bottom line is the 24/7 is important to me. There's been very many good points here made today. I think this will get the sheriff's department, the 1.2 will get the sheriff's department where it needs to be for the rest of this term. I think they can operate within this with additional people and limit the raises to the ones originally mentioned and limit the 5-year pay. Now, if something comes along and things blossom to the good, yes, we can do more down the road. We'll focus it. But I think this will catch us up to where we need to be for the next 3 years. So I'm going to vote yes for the 1.2.
What was the roll call vote on that, please?
3-3.
Who voted no? Who's all the? Oh, well, crap. It ain't gonna matter anyway, is it? Well, anyway, I'll vote yes, so I guess it'll die 3-3.
Salary cap not where you can be a deciding factor on a tie vote.
No, it fails.
So
I was writing the votes down and I missed one.
So we go back to the 1.1 million, correct?
I don't change my speech at all, but anyway, so the 1.2 dies 3-3. So now on the floor is the original motion, which is 1.1 million for the sheriff's salary cap. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Square Cotton,
Yes.
Square Stump,
Yes.
Square Spears,
Yes.
Square Eldridge,
I vote yes, and the fact that it's ignorant, but we're cutting how we are.
Judge Travis,
Yes.
Squire Travis,
Yes, and I will say that the sheriff is the one who proposed the 1 million, I think, would be satisfactory to you, is that correct?
Like you said, he can make do.
Yes.
All right. Motion passes unanimously, 6-0. All right, that'll conclude that portion of the agenda, the sheriff's salary cap. Thank you all. Thank everyone who's in attendance. I apologize for thinking this.
I didn't really know where you was going.
Correct me next time. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that.
I thought that. When you started talking, I was like, well, it's kind of irrelevant, but go ahead.
No, it's the same speech stuff. It was a good time for the factory.
Yeah, I'm in.
No, we can't.
Bobby, we're not gonna have any Tuesday. I say we're not gonna take up anything that you got today for the special meeting.
We can't because it's a special meeting. We can't address other than what's on the agenda.
And you're not on the agenda. You're not on the agenda today.
That don't mean next time we can't get you. We're gonna meet in the next Tuesday night. We meet on Tuesday, when it's nighttime, it's the day after.
Where's it Wednesday?
Okay, I think.
We got a holiday coming up.
Doug, you get to help me.
President's Day.
15th, Martin.
Martin Luther King is 15th, so, but since it's a night meeting, isn't it the next day?
I think somebody else meets here on Tuesday, so they have to go to Wednesday.
Martin Luther King, yeah, be Tuesday night. The next meeting should be Tuesday
Hey, we
night.
know.
If it's not Tuesday night, next week, it'll be Wednesday night.
Can you write up David Gillis a thing?
And I can get you on that, no problem.
I had something I wanted to say to y'all.
Wait till after we meet, wait till we adjourn.
Leave, I gotta talk.
Well, when we adjourn, you can talk as long as anybody wants to stay.
Okay.
You got David's number?
You got a line there. We're on recess for a moment, everybody.
Next meeting should be on the 16th, and then it would have been the 15th, but because of Martin Luther King, it moved to Tuesday night.
That's only the night meeting.
Yeah.
The night meetings move one day, the morning meetings move 2 days.
This meeting should have been on yesterday.
Y'all get done.
But we moved it to today, and made it a special call meeting.
Guys, Dwayne, see if I can talk to the other guys at the council.
Because of the day
Well, I understand that,
beyond, I agree with you.
but, you know,
I agree with you.
what about all the other, stuff that we need to look at? The committees.
We didn't put them on this one. They'll be next Tuesday night.
Right, but see, we're skipping a whole.
Well, since our last meeting, actually, on committee reports. I said we did, and I figured it'd be a long meeting.
They're all.
We work it.
You're right.
We work it.
I'm all.
They have to look at it as being a special meeting, but then I'll look at it as a special meeting, and then there's just going to be at least 24 hour notice.
Good deal.
Hopefully, the rest of the meeting don't take very long. Well, I mean, we got a couple of things.
We've got,
I'll hurry, get over here, I think it is. Water field time.
no.
It's not on the agenda.
Usually.
I don't know. Well, I don't really know. I haven't heard. I used to be in there. I do think because of the way the holidays fell, and the way we have to do it not on a regular schedule, this meeting here is Thursday.
We got plenty of zoning out there, buddy.
There is, there's some stuff that goes on in discussion. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we have a plenty of zoning discussion.
Well, there's nothing in the back. It may be something that I have to bring it up, something, it might not need to be relative to you guys. It'll probably be our next regularly scheduled meeting, and this was determined a special meeting, so we got way too many people. Well, the thing is, it will be because the holiday, according to our administrative code, if it's falls on a holiday, we see automatically go to the regular meeting goes to the next day. Well, what is that in this instance? So we had the 2 days out, and my brother did too. I don't know.
Whatever we want.
The way it works, because we have to.
Scott,
Yes.
not so much.
Yeah, I was a staff sergeant, but still, I mean, still.
And I guess maybe the judge didn't feel like it was necessary to be on this one, pick it up at the next one.
Even though I was,
That's above my pay grade. I just read the agenda and what's in the packet and do what I have to do.
I was stationed with them, they,
Sorry, I don't know what the planning zone discussion is gonna be, but if the planning and zoning.
Special call meeting.
But if the topic is planning and zoning discussion is not there, then we can't bring yours into it.
that, and, you know,
So it'll be work at each space. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Because I just, because we get the agenda and then we get the packet, and sometimes there's something on the
I do.
agenda. Hey, she don't stop.
Hey, she has to deal with it.
I'll just say that
I mean, when they,
there will be,
run for office.
the recommendation, it'll be something in the packet as a recommendation. Yeah, the recommendation of planning and zoning, and that's not in
You
there,
were
so I would look at it.
Pointed first, and then, yeah, and then.
Did you run? Did you have?
And then I had to-
You can look at it.
When you was on the back.
Yeah, well, now, see, yeah, it wasn't that.
No, no.
But then this last election, you just had,
Well,
the governor election, it was on.
You have to run it on the next
we got
election
one
after your
in the
appointment.
bank, say that we call it rainy day. Well, we got enough there to cover a pretty substantial amount.
Yeah. See, the thing-
I know you don't want to talk about.
No. Some salary tax I have.
Without employees to get the check. Don't, and you understand what I said?
No?
Then, ask,
You know, I mean, it's like-
he needs it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying I'm not, but you
I see.
you still have a vote on it.
Whoever y'all pay, we don't really have any budget, I take into consideration.
Actually, the same was how much you get back, they reimburse it.
Well, that's what we did.
Well, but you know, the original problem was, we don't want to fund that then, because we don't want that money tied up that way, but if you put it in a rainy budget, you can pull it out anytime you need to.
I understand. I understand.
And so they mentioned
Talk to the
that
other
we
guys. And
see
we don't need our county to stop and wait. What are you doing? Go on.
We're going. Next on the agenda, the personnel policy changes. Corey, I'm gonna discuss what you sent over to us.
Okay.
It's this paper right here, guys. I don't know if you got it, it's right here. This is right here, Tim. All right. This is a follow-up from what we discussed at the last meeting. And I'll let Corey, I guess, take it over from here.
You need my copy, Corey?
No, I got it here. Here it is. Basically, pages, I think it was 29 through 31 of the December 18th meeting. Had the proposed changes, went ahead and accepted those, and then based on the discussion, the vote that took place in the second part after executive session last time, those changes are reflected in red line format here. And it's changing the paid time off. It was formerly sick, personal, bereavement, comp time. That's been changed to reflect the vote. It was, I think, 250 hours instead of the 500 was what was discussed. And they're there. You all had any questions based on where it doesn't match your recollection of the last meeting, what was voted on, but I think those changes have been incorporated in what's here, and for your all's approval for the personnel policy.
Do we need to vote on it again?
I don't think so.
Well, my understanding was that the only, or one of the changes was that, where we're calling it PTO time, of course, you don't need a sick note, only if it's sick and not when it's just PTO time. But we can, I mean, yeah, if we don't need to vote, we just, this is basically what we discussed.
Yeah, this is just the reflection of, because
Okay.
if you recall last time in the packet, there was all the proposed changes, and then there was that counter proposal, and the discussion is the cap that was different as well. This just incorporates those changes in the vote that was taken in part 2 after the executive session, once it returned to open session.
Okay.
So, I mean, belt and suspenders, if you wanted to approve it, you can. Again, just to make sure in case there wasn't an I dotted for auditing purposes.
Well, if, we'll just, you guys look through it, if you do see something we need to adjust, we'll do it next week, or week after.
Well, we just gonna table it here?
Well, I mean, we don't have to discuss, we don't have to vote.
What we need to be here?
Yeah, we don't need to be.
From our discussion this morning, when the way that was worded, that if you were off for more than 2 days personal, you had to have documents.
Right, yeah.
No,
Well,
because the way this is worded now, your sick time is still sick time. If you're off for 2 or more days sick, you have to have a
Well,
sick
it was
note.
worded in there on PTO time that if you miss more than 2 days, you had to have a note. I think the way.
well, that was discussed.
Okay, that's interesting.
Look at that.
Section 3, the PTO section. It's talking about the first of each month, non-probationary employees will be awarded 4 hours of sick time. Anytime an employee is absent from work 2 consecutive days, the doctor's note be required, so.
So you just say if we're.
Just needs
For
to say,
sickness.
yeah, sick time, or for sickness, yeah. So the understanding is that that should be for sickness. You know, you don't need a doctor's note for just 2 regular PTO days.
Or for a week's vacation or a week off PTO time.
Right. I mean, you only need a doctor's note when there's a sickness or illness.
So, section 3A that's listed there, anytime an employee is absent from work for sickness, or, I'm sorry, for 2 consecutive days for sickness, comma, a doctor's note be required.
All right, y'all pick up
Why
on
did it
that.
just say sickness? Why, didn't we still leave sick days and PTO separate?
Yes.
So why wouldn't it just say
This-
if you're
this-
absent for
this-
more than 2 days using sick leave, other than putting sickness in there?
Sick leave, yeah, I mean,
It don't matter either
sick
way.
leave, sickness, but that's
It's
just so that
just-
there's not a note required for personal time.
It don't matter.
Yeah, you don't need a note for personal time.
I just have it say if you take more than 2 sick days, it requires a note. I think it looks better,
I agree.
like that sounds better. I'm not the most punctual person, but
Well, how about we'll make those changes and we'll print out another one and we'll look at it next meeting. All right. All right, moving on. Do all the old agenda have a new business item number 4?
Yeah. Planning and zoning discussion,
Yeah. Okay.
but we don't have anything about planning and zoning research.
Well,
I explained to Mr. Smith that it's probably on there for something that Jim wants to talk about, and if it's not specifically relevant to his project, then we
Okay.
can discuss it today.
all right. Yeah, I know what that's on there for. Now I remember.
It just didn't make it in the pack
Obviously.
Well,
with the information that we got.
okay, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I know what that was on there for, yes, that's the plan to R2 zoning.
okay, what I would like to propose to the court is to look into the possibility of having KIPTA to do an analysis, a report, a study on our zoning regulations concerning R2. You know, what's the benefits that we have now with R2? What's the detriments? And if we did not have an R2 zoning at all in the county, how would that affect? So I would like, and Kip, I'm sure would do this study, because Scott and I both sit on the board, I think we can talk them into it, to give us a study on, you know, what would happen if we eliminated R2 zoning in the county altogether.
You need a motion to pursue that?
If you all agree, then, you know, we can contact Kip and ask him about it.
But do you want to put it in a motion so we can?
Sure. I make a motion that we look into getting Kip to do a report analysis of our planning and zoning regulations concerning R2.
Second.
I can have a motion by Jim, seconded by Mike, that we get Kip to look into the benefits, pro and con of R2 zoning. Any discussion?
Any reason behind that? Or just asking to ask?
Well, there's reasonings, yeah.
You want to touch base on them, or just?
Well,
I mean, you're asking for something.
yeah, well, I think it'd benefit everybody if we knew exactly how R2 affects the county. Okay, of course, the cities in they're all gonna be R2, but in the county, the zoning regulations say the only way you can have R2 is if you're on a sewer system, private or, private sewer system, not individual septic systems. And I guess the main reason to bring this up is because of top flight and the landings over there. They are R2 zoning, quarter-acre lots. And as we speak, there is emails floating around about the 3 stop signs that we put up over there that we agreed to do. They were asked to be put up by the homeowners association. And evidently the homeowners association doesn't reflect all the people's ideas. And so they are pretty much, in my opinion, dysfunctional as a homeowners association. And I've had more complaints from Top Flight in the last 5 years than I've had of all the other dozens of subdivisions in my district combined 10 times over.
Even Washburn Lane?
But that's not a subdivision. So, and I asked myself, and I asked people, why are there so many complaints coming from Top Flight?
Because you got people packed on top of each other.
Exactly. You've got people packed on top of one another, and when you do that, they're gonna argue and they're gonna fight. And if we can eliminate that from the county, I think it would be beneficial for the county and the people, especially the people living in the county. So my thing is rid the R2 in the county, period, and keep the 1 acre lots.
Well, my only concern with that is if we do which I don't mind doing it, but if we do get rid of the R2 zoning, then wouldn't that put, potentially, if we're gonna keep it, let the city keep it, wouldn't that potentially make it where they have to be happy to the city?
Well,
If we're not gonna allow R2 zoning, then we can't have R2 zoning.
but on that,
You either have to rezone, cause everybody
I don't get
is.
you drift. What do you think?
You're saying you wanna do as R2 zoning, so we don't have R2 zoning, you can't, so if we don't have R2 zoning, then you can't be zoned R2.
Okay.
that's fair.
So you'll have to be rezoning everybody, or we're gonna let the city stay, or let the, which we can't control what the city does, but we're saying the city can be R2 zoning, and, I mean, it opens up some can of worms there, I think.
The stipulation is, with R2 zoning, you have to be on a sewer system,
Yeah.
okay? Okay.
You ain't gonna be able to say there's no R2 zoning, but then there'll be R2 zoning.
There's no future
You
R2
can't say
zoning.
that. I
What?
don't think you can, I don't think we'll be able to.
Well, that's what the
I
study,
think you
that's
can,
what the study's
because
for. We don't,
most of our surrounding counties have changed their zoning to eliminate, I think Oldham County's 10 acres now. I think Shelby County's 5 acres. They've changed that to say, this is what you're required to have to build a home. So,
I think that having Kip to do a study ain't gonna hurt nothing.
No,
And that's what some of the
agree.
people, so I just say, look,
You know, if it comes up, if the study comes back and says R2 zoning is definitely beneficial for the county, okay.
right.
See, I think that's what it would say. I mean,
Well, that's because you're.
well, again, everybody has to have a place to live, and I am sorry that it's not been good for you in that one area, but.
well, I can
That's
agree
one
with
area.
Jim that most of my complaints come from Highview Estates where they are just, it's a huge neighborhood where people are
Then
living
people
on
choose to
corner.
live on top of each other. If they don't wanna do it, move.
But
I've said that over and over
they
again.
live there because they tried to get out of, because they moved there out of Jefferson County.
You don't try to get out of Jefferson County by a quarter-acre lot with 500 houses around you. That's no different than Jefferson County.
The whole thing
It
about it
is
is,
different because your tax
moving
rate's
from
lower
Jefferson
and
County,
you're,
that they live in that same situation in Jefferson County, piled up on top of each other.
500
They
acres
get
off
out.
the back of the road.
They
you don't know
think,
about it.
well, I'll move to Spencer County and it'll be a rural country atmosphere. Well,
Yeah.
that's true, but they move right back into the same situation because they don't know.
yeah.
Well, I
That's
think,
exactly right.
well, I think if we get a study done, the study itself might negate a lot of this discussion that's happening
Yeah.
right now. We don't know the facts, we don't really know,
We're just opening it up.
yeah, so I think.
I don't disagree with that, but I would like to put on there that we need to maybe set in motion, you know, I don't know if it's gonna be a free study, we have to pay something.
Well, I think we can start with free.
Well, I mean, if we get it
They
free-
work for us.
Well, I get that, but they may say it's gonna cost something to do it.
No,
Well,
the-
See, we pay, you know, we have to pay to join KIPTA.
Well, I
And it ain't real expensive because they base it on population.
I agree, I gotta pay the Joint Farm Bureau insurance too, but I still pay nothing for their insurance.
So, but I know, but anyhow, I agree with you.
well,
We can,
we'll contact them and find out.
right, you know, we'll have to start meetings again here in January, so. But anyway, we can take care of that, so we have a motion and a second, so all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
No.
Okay, we have one no, Madam Clerk. So, all right, thank you all for that. Next is the invoices, bills, and transfers.
While you're starting on that, this invoice that y'all got here, that's for the concrete. We just got it, so we wanted to add it to the bills. And then I talked to a couple of you, there was an additional $2,200, because we ended up sealing that concrete twice. That's what that is.
Okay, so this isn't the fairground farm, this is the salt farm, right?
Right.
Yes.
That's fairground.
Oh, my
You know, we
fairground.
voted on this 48 number.
Up on the back, okay.
Yeah, and then, you know, we talked about it here, not sealing, and then, you know, if we cut that concrete, and there was no sealer, we ended up, they sealed it, cut it, sealed it again, and filled all the cracks and sealer up. I called two other people, I thought, I mean, we gotta try something.
We figured well, Will did the legwork and determined that this would make the floor a whole lot better.
I agree.
It's always gonna tear the floor up over time, eventually, but maybe we can prolong it a little bit.
And I asked Todd about when we'd start getting salt, and they wanted to at least wait a couple weeks. Is that good with you, Will?
Yeah, really, I mean, about 7 or 8 days, but the longer we can hold off, the better.
Yeah.
Takes about 8 days for concrete to do one.
And I'll just, you know, normally, when you're in these, you know, we haven't had a snow event much to amount to anything. Salt is probably very plentiful. Because no one's used any just yet. So, I mean, whenever we order some.
Well, this week, people probably started calling.
Right, started getting it in.
Chance of snow this weekend.
But anyway, all right, but we need to add this to our bills that are in the book. Y'all have any question on any of the bills that are in the book? There was I pointed out a few little things, noticed this morning. There's a water bill on page, that ain't 12,000, on page 36. Yeah, that, it's not $12,000.
Real quick before that.
Yeah.
That invoice says front back, right? One's the 2,200.
You add them together.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we already approved the 48,000.
Okay.
We gotta add the 22.
And the 22, okay.
Yeah, add the 22. Yeah,
We want it in the minutes, right?
I mean, it's just a bill. It doesn't
Okay.
have to be in the
That's
minutes.
fine.
So we approved this concrete job, Lynn, I guess at the last meeting, and then this was an additional expense to seal it after we got it poured. But this bill shouldn't be in the minutes. I wouldn't think so. But I want to point out on that page 36, you see up at the top where it looks like $12,087 for water. Where that splits, it's sealed to the side is $12.09. So those rounded up. Y'all have anything marked on the bills?
I noticed there were 3 invoices for Greenville's propane.
Yes, I got that marked. All right, good. I'll tell you what that is. All right, they have the tanks right behind us here too. And we voted to, trade with Bennett's. And I asked everyone, where do they have tanks? And anyway, I saw a bill for this over here. And they just filled them. Now, the Friday before Christmas, we were low. All right, and then Bennett's was gonna wait till the 1st of January to hook the line up. So we went ahead and got another fill the Tuesday after Christmas. Because we afraid we'd run out of gas. And I talked to Zach Bennett Tuesday, and we're gonna monitor the tank at the courthouse before we change it over. So, but anyway, that's why there's 3 bills.
They'll pump that out, I mean, you just have some new tanks, I mean, you get charged a little bit, but.
Well, you can bump it out and put it in the new thing.
Well, some do, some don't, but anyway, we'll.
I know when I changed from Bennett's to Greenwell's, they transferred all of
They pulled it out and give you credit for it. All right, well, that's good. Well, I hope that's how we come out too, so that'll be the end goal, is to come out the same way. Did y'all see anything else you had questions about?
We got another opioid plan in December for $2,430.54 that was put into the general fund when they wire transferred it. So that's why it's on the transfers, to transfer to the opioid account from the general fund. So not that it's a big hunk, but then we haven't spent a lot of opioid money yet, but I'm sure that'll change in the future.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills and transfers to save additions and corrections.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mike, seconded by Will, to approve the stated bills and transfers and invoices with any additions or corrections. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion by Zach, second by Mike to adjourn. It's neither available nor amendable. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Anybody?
I'd like to keep that trouble.